Hey
Hi, everyone.
everyone, good evening, good evening, good evening. We hope you are well. If you can see us and you're logged in right now, please drop a comment in the section box. Just say help. What do I say? Box. I sound
Box,
Canadian,
yeah.
like Sharon. Her spirit has
She's
just
been
jumped.
rubbing off.
I was like, what is box? Yeah, if you just tuned in live, just drop a comment in the chat right now. If you are watching the replay, hello to our replay viewers as well.
Yes.
Please do also comment on this video, any opinions, your reactions, or if you have any further questions for any of us, please do use that comment section. Hey, Cheryl from
Yes.
Connecticut. Hey.
Yes. US in the house. God bless
US
you.
in the house. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is evidence that we are currently streaming live. So
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Esther.
And my name is Mark, and we are both husband and wife, and we are the Libyrds.
We are the Liburd clan. We are going to be your hosts for this evening. For those of you that are watching this for the very first time, what is The Runaway? The Runaway is a platform designed for individuals who absolutely love God but have ran away from the institution, the building of the church, in aid of finding further answers to their faith so they can engage with God, as well as a platform where we engage cultural, topical conversations
Right.
in aid of bringing Christ into your current circumstances. So, well, let's see the comments. Good evening, Eileen Christie. Good to see you.
Eileen, one of our regulars. So big up, Eileen. Lovely to see you.
Very lovely to see you. And if you're tuning in again, please do share this with your community or anyone that you have the privilege of doing life with. We want to send this message as far and as broad as possible, because even just last week, just to recap really quickly, when we came off the live, so many people contacted me personally to say that they didn't even know that they were actually dealing with trauma until they heard Andrew's story or they heard certain things that Sharon shared. And I know personally quite a few people have accessed counselling and therapy just this week because of this live.
And what we want people to do, this is why we're saying share, not to get likes, not to get numbers, but actually we want you to think about someone who may need the information that we shared last week or may need information we shared this week. Just ping it to them. Just say, listen, please listen to this. This is not about likes. This is the brother we have coming on. You heard some of his testimony last week. If you haven't, this will be the first you're hearing it, but we're encouraging you to go back and listen to the part one if you can. But also we have an expert on the program today. Both of them was fire last week, and the information was just a wealth of knowledge, things that we would have to pay loads of money for. If you had to go to any counselor to get, you were getting that free. So please hit that out to as many people as you can that you can think of that may need that help.
Okay, so Runaway Village, I hope that you've strapped in your seatbelts and you're ready for us to continue our conversation tonight. So just want to shout out Judith. Thank you for just blessing our platform and encouraging us. And yes, Sharon Mcleod is a whole power socket in herself, as well as our brother Andrew Fuller, who's a whole lightning bolt in himself. So we're just here to facilitate his journey of sharing his story. For those of you that have just tuned in as well, I just want you to know that we value every single person that tunes in every single week. We're sending you virtual hugs. Come on, family hug, guys.
Hug.
And if it's your first time here, please receive that hug in true love and light. Hey, The Bridge, that's Rihanna Price. Good to see you on as well.
And also, we had, she said that she was also Canadian. Cheryl, even though she's in America, in the USA, she is Canadian too.
Okay, shout out all the Canadians tonight.
You know, because I was born in Canada.
Oh yeah,
some of you don't know, I am a Canadian as well by birth. So for those of you who don't know, downtown Toronto. Come on, somebody.
Okay, so shout out all the Toronto fans, all the Toronto Raptors. See, I know, I've never been there, but I watch YouTube. So anywho, I just kind of quickly want to introduce Sharon. For those of you that are watching our video for the very first time, she is a multi-faceted professional. If you want to hear her full bio, please do go and check out the first video that we did, which is up on my page. She currently lives in Toronto. She was an immigrant parent of Afro-Caribbean ancestry. Currently, she has long-standing clinical presence in the field of addiction and mental health. She was a social worker and a full-time lecturer And not only that, but she taught me something. She taught me about AOP. Do you know what AOP is?
No, explain to the audience.
It's anti-oppressive practices. That's her specialty, and that's what we need. We need to be set free from bondages of things that have kept us oppressed in systems, in structures, and even in our personal relationships with other people. She's also a scholar of anti-Black racism and lateral violence, and trained scholar as well, by the way. Sharon draws keenly from the umbrella of anti-oppressive practice with strength from cultural, anti-colonial, anti-indigenous, and anti-Black racism, feminism, and critical disability. She is anti any form of oppression. Anything that's holding people, she's
gonna break it. Come on,
that is on period. Okay, so please, in the comment section, help me welcome our special guest this evening, our sister Sharon. Good evening, Sharon.
Yes, she's going to be the new
host. Dying back here.
Good morning.
Anti-oppressive practice. Yes, we are counting oppressions for what they are, and we're against the idea that we're post-colonial. We're currently in a colonial project, right? So we this is our framework, and we need theory because we cannot own every personal experience. Right? How do I enter an experience? I enter from a place of moral center. What do I believe? And then I go, right? So I believe that oppressions are real. Poverty is an oppression. Racism is an oppression. Sexism is an oppression. Ageism is an oppression, right? So we have to, ableism is an oppression. If you think, so we're really trying to frame the conversation, and I'm so grateful to be here. Loving the pond, crossing the pond again this week. Yes, ma'am. And we're here to celebrate life, but we're also here to be truthful about the fact that life can be hard.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. I have a question for you before we actually on. And my question is, what is the biggest lesson you have learned about trauma, especially as a Black woman navigating various spaces?
I learned there's no single narratives. Yeah, because I think what people want to do is take a bunch of variables and say, well, if this is present and this is present and this is present, then this is the outcome. But we're not monolithic, Esther and Mark. The Black experience is not a monolith, right? Our lives are not identical, right? And so in so doing, I sometimes try to think of how many clients have I seen over my professional life, thousands, and I've never heard the same story twice, right? And so what we want to be around trauma is we want to be autobiographical. What did it do to you, Esther? To you, Mark, right? To me. And we want someone who's going to honor our complexity.
Yeah.
Right? If they see us too simply, they cannot be our advocate. Because we defy, right? Single construction. There must be room to see me, the person, and me, my circumstances, and to be able to delineate those two. And I think what I learned, in my 50 winters and probably in my 27 winters as a practitioner is that I cannot go into the story making assumptions. I have to be honoring what that person wants to focus on. I can come with an agenda. Yeah, what has been impairing to you might not be the thing I would have guessed.
Yeah.
You could put up with the abusive boss, you could survive the bad marriage, you could, deal with the, the grief and loss of losing both your parents, but the day you lost your baby took you out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. Right. So I may think, well, given the, in the battery of things that have happened, why wouldn't this thing have taken the person out? Yeah. And so I've learned that I have to be a student of people's biography.
Wow.
What is your story?
Wow.
That was very powerful, actually. It actually helped me to even kind of see trauma even more broadly than so narrow viewed, actually. So sharing that.
Because I think when we grow up in colonial, realities, we don't see our complexity.
Yeah.
Like, we're dying to just be ourselves, and people who, like you say, we do life with may get to see us. But so often people are making assumptions about our bodies, who we are, what our stories are. And so I want today for the listeners to make space for yourself. What is your story? And what part of it do you want to focus on? And that is your liberty to focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you so much for that. Woo!
Amazing.
That has just literally laid a foundation for us to actually now delve into Andrew's story. If you weren't here last week, Andrew's part 1 is on another video, so please do go back and watch that video. So as I introduce our brother Andrew, who's literally our brother, like blood doesn't make a difference. So he's an international speaker, a child behavioral consultant, entrepreneur, runs a fuller beard. If you haven't seen those products, here is your model. His beard is very well and it's very moistured.
Mine is a mini beard, but we're catching him. We're going to catch him in about 3 years.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's doing well. So please do go and purchase a fuller beard. He's a husband and a father and a trauma survivor and a trailblazer. So watch out for this name in various spaces. I don't even want to confine him. So good evening, Andrew Fuller. Volume. You're muted.
That's the second time I did that, you know. we have to work on them skills there, you know. That ain't like me either, you know.
By the time you get to Good Morning Britain, you'll be fine. You'll be
man.
Right.
How you doing?
Man, I'm good. We're good.
Amen.
Good, man.
Before we even go into your story, we just want to honor you for even sharing your story and for being so transparent and honest. And many times when we talk about trauma, it's mainly females that tend to come forward. So to be a man, a black man, navigating a time where racial tension is so high, let's take this moment to honor you, honor your story, and honor the liberty you're bringing out and so many other family friends.
Yeah.
And let me just, as a man, it's why I love even just doing this and sharing this time with you guys. Even as you talk, every time you talk, I'm learning something new myself. You unlock something that's in my mind. I think, wow, I need to go and process some of these things, and it's been amazing. And I'm hoping, especially that's why I'm asking these guys, not just to ping this to anyone, especially to our brothers. This to our brothers, because you don't know the trauma that our brothers do. And because we are men, we don't always talk it. And that's why it's so powerful just to hear you tell your story, because it's going to be setting a lot of brothers free.
Praises,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we started off with the flames already. So Andrew, last week you shared your primary school experience with us, and you also introduced us into your kind of view of how you learned about fear and the authority that fear played in your parents', should I say, care for you. You also went on to expose the sexual abuse that you actually suffered underneath the school table. When your friend tapped you to come down there, which was absolutely heartbreaking. I know even that set a lot of people free. You then went on to talk about how you wanted to be a husband from year 7. And I unpack today because that's very interesting. I was saying to Mark, I've never heard a boy at year 7 say he wants to be a husband. It's normally the girl like, I'm going to be a whole life by year. So that was amazing. He also went on to talk about the fact that losing your virginity, who was there to speak to you as a Christian? You're not going to go to your parents. So that was very brave of you. And then we paused at the point where you were going to share about how your gentle nature, your stutter, your care to want to be loved, to be in spaces where you were celebrated and seen and fear wasn't used as a punishment, turned gentleness into aggression. So I wanted to press play there and just help us to see life through your younger self. You're in high school, secondary school, you're realizing gentleness is not working. When did the switch from gentleness go into aggression?
So I remember being on a bus, right? It was in Elsfield, to be precise. Coming from my old school, which was a school in Putney called Southfields Community College, right? I love my school experience. It was amazing. And like I said before, I was always good around the man then. Like I've never had an issue around brothers, never. Like I know my place, and you know, I've always known that in every circle I've been in around brothers, I've been that leader, not by choice. There's a lot of people that they want to lead by choice and they want to put themselves up, but that's never been my style. I didn't learn to do that. That was just the way it was, right? All my circles, like the brothers always looked to me, but like I broke down last time, my interactions with females was a shocking one by reason of my early experience with too much accolades at a young age. And me and Sharon spoke about this. It's not good. I've got a chapter on my podcast about this, right? And I break it down to a T. And I'm just breaking down this to that. Because I was always petted and always insulated by females, how on earth am I going to get that at the time? And that's the thing. This is a little quick gem, right? The reason why people always learn late, because at the time when whatever's happening is happening, they're clearly not at that age to grasp that what's happening to me right now is going to be detrimental to my growth. So at 12 or 11, what's happening to me, I am not supposed to be the defender, right? Children are not supposed to be the primary defenders of an attack on their mental or their physical. That's why we have parents. That's why we have carers, if that makes sense. Like my little girl is not supposed to be able to go a week of attacks and daddy doesn't know about that. Do you know what I mean? But that was my whole life. So only now and a few years before now, I'm like, yo, man, change needs to come. So imagine I get on the bus and I said it like it was, just happened yesterday, man. The girls, when I thought they were all going to be onto me, Esther, right? They would come with a boldness that I couldn't handle. Like they were very brash, they were rude sometimes. And it's like automatically I was just like, yo, boy, like I can't really hack this. I can't really handle that. And people started to talk a little bit. They were like, yo, Andrew's kind of nervous around girls. And in our day, Esther, right, there was a word beginning with F that, you know, they don't use no more.
Yeah.
But it was a word called frigid, Esther.
Yeah.
Know that word, fam. And like the man then would call the dons frigid. And I'll be like, yeah, man's frigid and that. But deep down, I know that's me as well.
Yeah.
So my interaction around females from year 7 is 12 years old. I'm an August baby. So I was 12 in year 7, right?
When you say the girls came onto you was quite brash, it was quite harsh. Can you give us an example of what that might look like or sound like?
So imagine I'm moving to a girl, aka, right, also known as chirpsing a girl, also known as, you know, making an inroad, showing interest to a female. When I'm doing that, guys, right, like it didn't go to plan. Didn't go to plan, and I became weakened, if that makes sense. I would start to feel that, you know, maybe the girls don't like me. I'll think, rah, they'll be shouting, they'll be cussing, they'll be teasing me, but deep down they're probably just joking. But it's like I was a very sensitive young man. But then what was funny to me, right, around the dons, around the guys, I was 100% different. Like, period. So I think that the girls would see that me and think, yo, blood, I want to be with that guy. But then when I would be with the girls, I wouldn't be that guy. Like at all. And then where it changed now, I was on the bus, right? And the girls were cussing me. I remember I had chocolate in my pocket and the chocolate melted because it was open. You know, in school, you do the mad stuff, man. Like the teacher try to catch you, pull it in your pocket. So my trousers had chocolate all over it now, like near the pocket area. And you know how the girls are moving mad back in them days, Esther, right? One of the girls tried to say, "Rah, like, what have you done to yourself?" Like that. You get me? So I'm like, just sitting there, and everyone's laughing. And then the guys are laughing now. But not my guys, though. The other guys and you know, in the older years are laughing.
Yeah.
Mark and Esther, listen to me now. I talk to my guys that I've known from then to this day. And we remember this story like it was yesterday. Literally, this was the day that I got my tongue. This was the day that I was known. So the next day after this, what I told you, right? Everyone was like, yo, did you hear? Yo, Andrew put them in their place.
Yeah.
After that day, I came to school and the girls that were talking wicked and bad to me, you know, I'll be like, hey, come here, man. They'll be like, oh, Andrew, what's up? What's up? And I'll be like, okay, that's how it goes. So what did I do? That's the question, right? I stood up, you know. I stood up, Mark. I didn't tell man, I'm gonna bust Esther.
Yeah.
Sitting down, you know. I stood up, I rose up, you know, Esther, you know. And I said, mind my language, it's no swearing, but I said, shut up. I said, oi, I said, listen, don't you ever. I was like, listen, do you know who I am? I said, you can't come to me like that no more. I started cussing out the girls. Listen, I'm not promoting it. Everyone was like, back in the day, remember the word Esther was like, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Listen, I felt like $1 million, Esther.
Wow.
I was like, yo, the deadlock's broken now. I said, all right, I've seen all the girls. I've seen who you really are. When I stood up, and when I listen, when I showed them this side, Mark, you know, they're listening now. Yeah, they're listening now. You know what I mean?
I'll ask a question. What was it inside of you that made you think everyone just shut up? Like what?
Yeah, I had enough. I was at breaking point. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. Like I always say this, man. It's like if you don't attend to something, right? You're gonna pop. That could have been a bang in the face. That could have been a stab. You see, like now it's a stab. It's a shot. I'm telling you, someone's in prison because they felt the same way I did in that moment. Yeah. Like, let's not sleep on that because I didn't lick off someone's head. Because I had licked off someone's head for less than that.
Wow.
So what I'm saying in that little moment, Esther, is that I had enough. Wow. It didn't matter. And that felt good. It felt good. You know, when I was just breaking free. I said, no, I felt good. And I lived in that after that day.
Did the other guys around you ever feel that you were this weak person?
No, they were like, sorry, Mark?
Was you the only one that knew that was going on, like on the inside?
That was just me. Like the man them saw it, but they just probably didn't take it as serious. They just thought it as, nah, Angela, why is man like that? But they wouldn't second guess it or go further in that. You know what I mean? But I knew, Mark. So when I did it, Mark, why it's funny you mentioned that. The brothers were egging me on. They were like, yes. They were like, yo, come on, Fuller, because they know that's really me. I'm fighting in school. I'm rumbling and tumbling. Like I was the kid that was like the funny guy. Like everyone knows I bust joke. But when it was just me and the girls, Mark, the stuttering was wild. Like it was wild, Mark, man. They're like asking me questions, man's just looking at them, like, and then the laughing comes. You know what I mean? So that's a whole lesson in itself. I was comfortable around them and them, so my speech was comfortable. Yeah, my heart rate was comfortable. But when I was around girls, I was uncomfortable. So everything, right, just fell into place. It just falls into place. Like your mind clocks on and says, yo, Fuller, this is an unnatural circumstance. Like you're not confident in these situations. Back up, back out. No, this is not good. Like cold red. And that's why all the time I would flop. But on that day, I said, no. I said, no, you're not doing it no more. From that day, bad ups ceased. No bad ups. No one's from that moment. No one didn't tamp me up after that day, Esther. I'm not saying I'm some big gangster, you know, but I'm just being honest. No one didn't rob my phone on. No one didn't pat my pockets down. No one didn't try and draw me. No one did that. I was willing to ride out no matter what.
Wow.
Period. And it's not about gangs. Listen, I hope there's some people online that's been in gangs and think, yeah, but what gang have you been in? No, it doesn't go like that. Yeah. I was my own gang. Yeah. I was my own gang. I rated myself. I knew myself. And I had actual people around me that I could have called a gang, you know. Yeah. But it was just man them. You know how it goes just in them days.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to bring Sharon in because I'm really interested to hear how someone who was gentle, had a stammer, was friendly, snapped into this I'm not having it type of person.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a reason Dr. Brene Brown is a best-selling author and recently deemed the head of the pack on the iTunes podcasting, is because her research is about vulnerability.
Mm.
And what Andrew is confirming for us is something that the research has confirmed for a long time. When we have the courage to be vulnerable, and that's met with any kind of shame, we can go from anywhere from disappointment to rage.
Mm.
Yeah. And so when you look back at your early expressions of vulnerability, and that's everybody listening and all of us on the line today, there will be a great revelation there. And so what Andrew learned early is also that women send mixed messages.
Mm.
We say, and it goes, and incidentally, they say somewhere between like 17 and up is when we really start now to have our vulnerability as an identity. Either we're someone who's willing to do it and take the risk, or someone who's learned that there's it's a zero-sum game.
Mm.
And what we saw was that, and we're seeing it too in marriages, Mark, where, men are saying, I really need a measure of vulnerability. And women are saying, but I like vulnerable men, but I don't want you crying around here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Right?
True.
Like, let's get clear. I get to cry.
Yeah.
Mm.
I get to need encouragement.
Yeah.
But don't you start asking for all that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I think that's where the socializing of boys gets mixed now, and what I fear the most is for people whose vulnerability is met with shame.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were seeing there. He was taking the risks early. He was finding his way.
Mm-hmm.
And when he realized he wasn't winning,
Mm.
the people who seemed to be winning were the ones who had no respect for vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
He followed suit. And I think that, and I also complicate his first relationships. And I don't think it's strange that at 7 he wanted to be a husband.
Wow.
I think we can discover our emotional selves very early. No different than your 7-year-old cousin who says, I think I want to be a doctor. I think I want to be, a nurse. I think I want to be an architect. Gifting comes early. And he could be someone with he is a person that possesses very high emotional intelligence.
Mm.
And I think what happened was the culture didn't rise up to meet him there.
Mm.
And so he adopted other ways. And in so doing, we saw the collateral damage. And I think we also need to encourage, and this is, might feel gendered, and I don't want women to feel to blame, well, they're to blame because men are aggressive or men are acting untoward. No, that's not the message here.
Mm.
The message here is that we all really need to teach our children to be kinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we've not. Yeah, because for one child, that bullying could be a death sentence. We've seen children taking their own lives, right? Here in the West, we've seen it. So I really think it was just this intersection or what we call like, just a crash course. Like it was, no one respects my vulnerability. It's not respected at home, certainly not respected among women who I like.
Mm.
And so I'm going to have to adopt this other way of surviving.
Mm.
And what we learned is that it worked temporarily, but it was very explosive later on. Because those are that's not great adaptation.
Mm.
And also, what is it about us at that age in adolescence that makes us want to make somebody else an object, a source of ridicule? My chocolate bar melted. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, and even if I did have an episode, God forbid, where I stained my own self, why would that be funny to you?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is shame? Because I think many of times we think shame is when someone embarrasses us, but I know that shame is so much deeper than that.
Oh, it's way deeper than that. For me, shame hits an emotional chord. It's a profound rejection. It's an embarrassment. And it's a kind of embarrassment that forces some other energy to surface. Rage, retreat, you know, and I think it depends on our family histories which one we choose. And I also think other things can inform shame. Shame can be informed by your particular faith history, the family of origin you have. Were you made to feel ridiculed? You know, are you someone who gets affirmed when you're wrong? Then shame is not something that you're going to court. What we know is that guilt and shame are not corrective emotions. They don't fix anything. They make things profoundly worse. So if you're parenting with shame, if you're in relationships where you make your partner feel shame, you really need to take an inventory, because that will never yield correction.
Wow.
In fact, shame will exacerbate vice. Shame will exacerbate predispositions. Like it's a dangerous default to the owner and to the perpetrator.
Wow.
Right? And so I think what Andrew learned from the culture, and we also have to take up the culture space. You know, Andrew, what music were you listening to? What was, you know, I mean, I grew up listening to Public Enemy, listening to KRS-One, listening, you know, Don't Push Me, because I'm already close to the edge.
Come on.
Right? I'm trying not to lose my head. He wasn't laughing when he said, wasn't a laugh of, right? I grew up on Public Enemy when 911 is a joke. 911 doesn't come to our communities.
Yeah.
Right? So we also have to listen to the culture space. What was you know, popular culture saying at the time? What was reggae saying at the time? What was hip hop saying at the time? Right? Around masculinities. Right? And so we start to learn toxic masculinities.
Yeah.
And we need girls who will challenge boys, and we need boys who will challenge girls. And for those persons whoever you love, you need to challenge, right? Because it's not like, I think we would expect differently from young Black boys if we taught young Black girls to want more from them.
Yeah.
That's good.
You're jumping too far ahead, because
I'm sorry. I'm back.
That's good.
That is a good.
But I think, Andrew, is it fair to say that your testing vulnerabilities didn't send you back a win, so you got harder?
Wow.
That's good.
Which took us away from the Andrew that was really there.
Yeah.
Because that was the 7-year-old who said, I want to be kind to other people.
Yeah.
And we should have sown that. He should have been out volunteering. He should have been at the soup kitchens in South London. He should have been out there learning his civic, that he has a civic role. And parents, when you see your children have a propensity to kindness or to caring, you must sow that.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And
definitely.
I think, you know what, Andrew, there is so
Don't
much.
say they're too young.
Yeah, there's so much that we need to kind of grab hold of. And I would like to say, Andrew, where you just left off from a place of explaining where this situation has happened on this bus. Where does the story take us next?
It just takes me to a place, man. I'll be real, Mark and Esther and Sharon, man. I'll just be honest, man. I've just always known from young that the rest of the brothers weren't like me. Then that's where it took me next. I started to realize, like, yo, these youths that are even top flight, they're nothing like me. And I'm saying that with 1,000% boldness. Jeffrey will tell you this. He will tell you that. Facts. In school, I can boldly say I did things differently. Like, everyone had clothes and fashion, but I know it's exterior, but I did things differently. You know, haircuts, like the way you look. Like I remember I bought in my brother's mobile, Esther, from year 7, like the Sony Ericsson. you know, with it, you know, with the hard, stiff aerial.
Yeah.
Like, I remember bringing that in, and they thought it was mine. I didn't even tell them it was mine. But those little things that you do in school, Mark, right? I'll say it again. Parents need to understand, right? Secondary school is no game.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm not saying it's not the same around the world, because of course it has to be. But in London, I can only speak about my narrative, right? It could literally like make you or break you. So put it this way, my girlfriend in year 10 was an A-star student, guaranteed 11 GCSEs A stars. She got 4 GCSEs B's, blood, because she rolled with me. That's it.
Wow.
That's just it. I changed her whole life. Period.
Wow.
Period. That's it.
Wow.
Like, so after that moment, right?
Wow.
There is no more. It's like literally just because she was with me. Like, come on, man. Like, and that's when I'm in year 10. From year 9, I broke it down, right? That there was 14 girls in my year. And I mean, there's 14, like, because I count them from when I was young. And we used to always, like, guys used to be like, raw, like, Ange, like, you went out with, I'm not going to, no names, obviously, but.
Yeah.
Like, in the space of, like, 2 years. Because I was only in that school from year 7 to year 9. And then I went to school in Tottenham. And that's a whole other ball game. So when I went to school in Tottenham now, Mark, my first day of school in Tottenham, right? It was, I walked through the gate and a brother tried to test, man. A brother literally walked through the gate. He was like, what for my man? Like, and I was like, instantly, I was like, come on, man. Like, we've been there before now. Like, I'm not from, regardless of where this is, it's the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to play the game now, Esther. This is my, well, I did not see school like school. I didn't see school like I'm a student. I saw myself as like an adult, like a little adult. No, literally, I didn't see school like maths and English and science. I did not see it like that. So when I was in them classes, I sincerely was like, what is this, man?
My hair,
My mind was too far. If you've gone through physical contact with the opposite, right, from young, that's a bit weightier than maths. It's just a little bit weightier than biology and physics. Just a little bit. So when I'm going through that now, and I'm robbing people, grown men, by the way. Mark,
okay,
so
wait. The story's getting too convoluted. Okay. Let's step back. You've had the opportunity on the bus. You've told people, I'm not having it. You've told the girls, the boys, everyone knows about their self. Okay, I was going to say Jamaican thing, but I know that Mark will pinch me because I'm learning what I can say and can't say as an African. Jamaican language is very interesting. Moving on. So you've told people about themselves. And then from that point, you've now been established and respected within the school. So where does that aggression then go from there before you start becoming this guy?
So before that, right? And this is a seamless transition. Remember, because everybody has a story, but not everybody knows their story. They don't know. I know my story like the back of my hand. I've been doing ministry, right, for 16 years. And my ministry's not been V's and vows, and I've not just based it on Paul and David and Goliath. My prayer to God was, make me the instrument. So use my story. That's why my story is on my mind all the time. So I know I can go in and out. So it was seamless, Esther, the transition. Right? And what made me get there, it was what's the word? It was natural. Based on what I was going through at home, that was bound to happen. If 10 kids were going through what I was going through at home, 10 kids were going through what I was going through at home. And they did. And they ended up with me. So when I was bunking, guess who I was bunking with?
The man them that is going through the same stress.
The man them whose dad bust them up as well. The man them who went home and nobody was there. The man them who had done things early. And then there's hear the sad thing. But I also rolled with people who were nothing like me. But because they were followers, I led them astray.
They became like you, You
see how mad that is? It's like the enemy has a double-barrel gun. Wrecks people from the jump. Like trauma, mess man up.
Yeah.
And then there's people that didn't really go through as much as I did, but they missed out a little link. Just a little link, a little piece of the puzzle. Got messed up in their life, you know. They've got money, they've got hugs and kisses, but a little thing's missing in their life. That's where I came in. With me, man, I had bare things missing. So I was just mashed up from the beginning in a sense. But they were on track, like GCSEs, like on the bus home early. Like Esther, let me see. Okay, here's my last thing. There was always someone in my circle who was the neek of neeks.
Yeah.
Break
The
down
geeks,
What's a neek?
geeky, the geeks of geeks. I've seen geeks pump up youths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my world, guess what, Esther? There's no such thing as a geek, man.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. Self-control is geeky. If someone comes to push Mark over, right, and Mark just walks away, he's a geek.
Yeah.
He's not a geek. He's not a geek. It's called self-control.
Yeah.
But because of the culture, right, geeky people were knocked off their horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were on the horse of righteousness, you know, even not even going to church, just righteousness, doing good things. But the narrative, the culture of the time, that was rubbish.
Yeah, it was weak.
Self-control, being strong, opening the door for girls, complimenting the gallem. Like, bruv, who wants to be that? You get me? It was easy for me. But for the guys that were okay in a sense, I'm not saying that they were perfect, but they were, you know, they had a better start out. Them man were not missing class. They were going after school class. Them man were walking home. I was doing badness and they were like, Andrew, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that eventually got turned. And I always said, I'm not saying that they went through the worst of the things, but it doesn't matter about worst of worst or the not worst of worst. Trauma's trauma.
Yeah.
We all handle it differently.
Yeah.
I could go through 10 things and join a gang. You could go through one thing and join a gang.
Yes.
That's the crazy thing about this trauma thing, you know. You can't just be like, that's why I say, all of this, I was in 10 gangs. I've shot 1 million. Sit down, man. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's not even your story. That's the things that you did because of your story.
Yeah.
Now, what is that?
That is
Come
good.
on, Esther, man.
Can I ask a question? Why did you feel you needed to influence? Because you're in pain, you're in trauma, you're feeling it, and you're expressing that pain through anger, through aggression. What was your fascination of turning people who were, as you would say, good or geeky on that path into aggressive?
Maybe I didn't make this clear, but that was the opposite of me, Esther.
Okay.
So I turned no one. But because of my leading influence, right? People followed me.
Right.
And I have to make this clear, right? Because I've seen both. I've seen man them literally roll on the youths and say, yo, my man, join me.
Yeah.
Like, roll with me. Like, a man's gonna do this, come. I know brothers that wouldn't do anything without the man them. That was never me. What I believe, Esther, right? The life that I was leading was bigger than gangs and clothes and money. Like, I just knew that I had something that God wanted to use for good.
Yeah.
But the enemy stole it for a while, right? Don't get twisted. He stole it. God said, all right, cool. It ain't yours.
Yeah.
But maybe God knew that I needed to be on vacation with him for a while.
Yeah.
There were certain things that I needed to see, Esther.
Yeah.
Because it was only through the life that I led that I saw, this is not right. So here's this, all right? There were people who followed me, but it was always around friendship. The girls that I had. I'll give you another story, Esther, right? There was a girl that I was rolling with in school that followed man. She was with man all the time. Bro, man's doing things on the street and police are here now. She's not saying, oh, Andrew, man, you've led me astray. She's rolling with me as if she's my sister. That's what happens, Esther. When you've gone through trauma and you meet someone that's gone through trauma and he's gone through trauma and he's gone through trauma, it's not like a following thing no more or a peer pressure thing no more.
Right.
We didn't know it at the time, but we were brothers and sisters, and what bound us together was our family mess.
Woo.
Wow.
Esther, listen to me. Do you know every single one of my doggies, girls or boys, had a broken home?
Wow.
Esther, what do you mean? Esther, whoa. I know I'm going forward, Esther, right? Let me break it down again. Do you know when we came off the roads and we started our ministry with people from roads, like you know our ministry?
Yeah.
All of the people in my ministry, there was over 14, right? 12 out of the 14, they came from homes with only one parent in it. Hear my point. I've always, been around. I don't know why this is, but I've always been around the warmth of broken people, and I'm saying the warmth and the care, and that's why I believe I don't look at people based on what they've done or based on what they're doing. I know why. It's never the thing you're doing. That's the thing that makes people ostracize us. That's all it is.
Wow. Woo. Listen, I just want to say to those who are tuning in and those who are watching this back on record, you need to let your children watch this. If you're a parent, please just say, take time out with your child and just say, let's just sit down and watch this together. It will be amazing for them to have an insight, especially if they're in secondary school now, to just have an insight behind the psychology of what's going on. And I think it will be so powerful for parents, or if you haven't got children, nieces, nephews, whoever you are, sit down with the young person, sit down with someone to help them understand kind of what's going on here. We're giving you an insight into the mind of a child when they was going through secondary school. And this is powerful, guys.
Woo. So Sharon, there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So I'm just going to ask you from the kind of like his beginning, where he talks about after that it unleashed this new version of him.
And I think what Andrew's doing is a masterclass in how difficult it is to beat your internal dialogue, right? I think what we saw was a self-emerging that the culture was refusing. And in so doing, like he's not getting any rewards for being his authentic self. But he always had the gift of influence. Right? So, and the other thing I want to say is that like spirits will always attract. That's a fundamental law of emotional nature. You go in a room, you're self-employed, you'll hook up with the other self-employed people in the room. Injury always finds itself. In the same way that gifting always finds itself. It's not unique. Right? And I think what was missing in the narrative for me, Andrew, is that person, that mentor, that person that should have been there to say, hey, we see so much in you. He was the influencer, but he didn't have one.
Good.
Wow.
Right? And this is why none of us can be without mentorship. None of us can be without guardianship. Right? And I know there's folks on the line who run programs in the community and who do this kind of mentorship. It really is life-saving if it's done with correct motivation, good moral center. You're not trying to be a hero, but you really see the need for humanity to have help. And Andrew's missing anybody. He doesn't have one person to anchor him. And when children are left alone in their fear and tragedy, they will survive, but it will never be full and whole. Like he said, his daughter is never meant to be on her own. Right? That's an age where you really need to trust someone. That's what hurts for me, that 17, 16, 15-year-old didn't have anyone. And I want us today to speak to our 15, 16, 17-year-old selves and say, what were you missing? Because likely you're still missing it.
Yeah.
If someone never came to bring it to you and say, we noticed you were missing this.
That's good.
You know, and I feel sad for that. I also feel, though, again, the confirmation that our gifts come early. He has a tremendous mantle of influence.
Yeah.
He's an influencer. He really is. He's that. Before we knew there were influencers, he is that, right?
That's good.
And he should have been franchised accordingly. I also, though, find that we do gravitate to people who understand our stories because we carry less shame in that weight, right? If I'm hanging around with people that only had 2-parent families and only know, even if it was AstroTurf, they thought it was grassy green. How is it going to be that I'm the only one in there that was, had a single mother, maybe lived in housing? Nobody wants to be alone in their story.
Yeah.
Right.
So like spirits attract because there's less for me to hide. Right? This is common to you. You understand it. What we can't afford, though, is to be together in our pain where nobody knows how to get out of that maze.
Yeah.
Because then we make normal, that is, what is dysfunctional. And that's not left to single parents or whatever the case may be. If I'm having inappropriate relationships outside of my marriage and all my friends encourage that, all my male friends say, well, hey, sometimes you have to have a little side thing. You're making something that's inappropriate normative.
Yeah.
You need that friend that says, go home to your wife.
Yeah.
You need that friend, Esther, that says, you're too hard. You're really standing in the way of meeting someone who's kind. Because, or you're too fast.
Yeah.
For 17, we need to kind of dial back a bit. When your 14 or 13-year-old doesn't come home that night, we're already in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? Now we know. So I want to encourage us all to speak to the point in our history that is fractured. Just stop and ask yourself, when did I stop getting what I needed? And if you're the one because a lot of us are silent in our brokenness too.
Yes. So
we're not telling anybody. And I want you to find someone that you can trust.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice.
Just 2021 is the year that we're going to get free, folks.
Yes. Come on.
Tell someone who loves you and you don't have to be perfect. And that's what shame is, Esther. And that's why the old folks say, don't you have any shame?
Yes.
Come on.
we were raised in shame.
That is really good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to start to co-raise each other to the point where you will go get maybe some help.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel any shame anymore. Tell me the thing that you think is keeping you from God's presence. Tell me the thing that you haven't prayed for that you know you need help with. Right? And all the pastors on the line, y'all need to really wake up.
Yeah.
Stop preaching about David and Goliath. Preach about vulnerability and shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is Brene Brown leading a small revolution?
Yeah.
When we knew God desired truth in the inner part. We already knew that. We had that information.
Yeah.
And there's a reason he desires truth in the inner part, because that's where the story is.
Come on.
It's not what you're acting like or being. Andrew was acting like he had swag. Everything was great. Man was on the road. The bravado, right? But what we were really dealing with was a wounded 7-year-old that nobody came to rescue.
Yeah.
And Andrew, your parenting will liberate you too.
Wow.
Right? Because I want everybody to know he's a survivor. We're not soaked in trauma here. we're coming out and we're telling, what is it? By the power of our testimony. You're not on. Turn on your volume, Andrew. By the power of our testimony, we are going to overcome, folks. And that's because God doesn't want us in shame. He never built us to be ashamed.
Yeah.
Judas could have been forgiven.
Yeah.
Right?
We're talking good,
but
man.
The shame will kill you too.
Beautiful.
Didn't kill Andrew. He's here. He survived. But some of us would have. The shame kills you. So don't hide in it. Don't soak in it.
That's good. I think.
But I want, Andrew, for you to tell us what your 7 and 14-year-old self would have needed to make the turn.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Good question.
Good question.
What would it have been?
Answer that question, Andrew. And there's another question from our from the audience out there.
Eileen.
Yeah, from Eileen.
So what I am flourishing and benefiting from now, that's the answer. Like, what's keeping me now? That's clearly the answer. Because, like, there's a saying in Jamaica that says, if you don't meet it when you go, you will meet it when you come.
Wow.
That simply means, you can't get around this.
If
you want growth and to be sustained, and you want success, and you want, all the fruits of the spirit, you know how it goes. That's the funny thing about it, all of them fruits, like all of that is like the goal. Let's be real. Like, it's kind of, like, think about everything that the fruit of the spirit is. Everybody wants that.
That's real.
Everybody wants that.
You
can't buy that though. It's the one thing money can't buy, right? So everything that I have now, that's the answer. So I have older brothers. I've got older sisters. I've got people who are way older than me. So it's not just generational older. Like, I'm 12, I got a 15-year-old. No, that's not the village that Sharon broke down. If the village raises the child, if I'm 10, I don't just need a 13-year-old.
That's right.
That doesn't make sense.
That's right.
I can't just depend on the year 9s and I'm in year 7. They can't guide me. That's not their job. The reason why young black boys are getting ripped up, right, is because they're in year 8, but year 9s are their answer.
Yes.
They're looking at year 9s and year 10s. But they're actually looking at them like fathers. So I've got a father now. You see, the thing that it ain't that deep, God would never make this deep. If he made this deep, then we'll have an excuse like, God, like, no, God, you made this too hard for us. Nah, God, you made this hard for us, man. No, allow it. And then God will be like, right, you make sense. No, it ain't that deep. Right? Fathers be fathers. It's not deep. Fathers be fathers. Mothers be mothers. Brothers be brothers. Right? Church be church. Like, come on, man. So my point is, everything that I lacked, right? My lacking was someone else dropping their baton, leaving their post. So I lacked because people left their post. And then not just that, deeper than that, I also lacked because the devil got people not even to know where their post was. So they didn't even leave a post. They weren't even on their post. You get me? So everything that I lacked, man, I needed. Everything that I have now, I needed it then. So don't think that, man, I'm flourishing at 32 years old. Yes, it's a win story. But the truth of the matter is this, why I rate Sharon so much, because when I'm talking like this, Sharon also says to me all the time, but don't just big up the now, because yes, if we just think about it, Esther, if I have you trapped for 50 years, right? But now you're free. Prime example, Nelson Mandela, right?
Good one.
If we just linger with the victory, it will happen again. We have to go back and break down his time in prison and what he needed then. We got to break down how he got there. We got to break down what could have been done better. We can't just be like, but he's out now. It doesn't matter what happened to him before. It doesn't matter if nobody was in his life before. The main thing is that Andrew Fuller's back. It don't go like that. Because that means I could be given a mirror the same mandate, which is go through hell, But don't worry, Amira, you'll be back at 32.
Yeah.
The Lord's gonna save you. He always does. Foolishness. It don't go like that. That's not the gospel. The gospel is not just there to save you from hell. And I mean that. The gospel is also there to keep you from hell.
Come on.
That's the gospel that we got to start preaching.
Come on.
I've been in 1,000 gangs, but it's okay because the Lord saved me now. Yeah, but the Lord saved you. Now your marriage is not, your marriage, even though you're saved and you're preaching, your marriage is still broken. But because nobody sees your marriage, they're all going to rate you.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
even though you're,
I have to will you in. I have to will you in. We're gonna get there. We're just filling up the tank. I've told traffic controllers to clear the runway, but we're not ready to take off yet because we're still fueling the tank.
Yeah.
So the pitch that we want to try and grasp, because I want to get to when did Christ come into it for you? But before we even get there, you've told us you're angry. You've told everyone you're not having it. People are now fearing you. So I know that you spent time on the road. For those that don't know what the road is, it's basically a lifestyle outside where you're robbing, doing all kinds of illegal activities. Let's put it that way. But we don't want to indict you into anything. But what I want to ask is, when did that part of your life start? So when did you start to harm other people and take laws and feel validated that it's okay?
It was never about the harming the people. So this is a masterclass on the roads. What the police and teachers and university lecturers and all of these people that do the right and stuff, they judge us, sister. If I'm beating up someone, look, there he is, an angry kid. There he is again. No, it didn't go like that. It didn't go like that. The beating up of people was never about the beating up of people. I did not enjoy hurting people. I've never enjoyed hurting people, right? But watch it, Esther, right? If something happens, right, but I'm not awake, did I condone it?
No, because you're not awake to give consent.
But what if it's mine and someone takes what's mine, right? If I'm sleeping, who gets the blame?
You, because you're sleeping.
That's it. I'm sleeping. That's me. What if I told you, Esther, right? Every time, I'm not passing off the blame because I know it's me. I know it's on me. But Esther, big man thing, Esther, right? All of these things that I did, when I tell you the story, as I'm telling it, I'm actually sick in my mind, thinking I could never have done that in my right mind. No way, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So something happened where I got to a place where I was not in my right mind.
Yeah.
I'm not excusing it. I'm not justifying it now because I'm not in my right mind. It's okay, but I got to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Because how people see it is, that's just a bad guy. Nah, it don't work like that, man. I sincerely was doing things that did not make sense, Esther. Listen, I got to give these stories, Esther, just to let the people know that I got to bring them in to the reality, right?
Yeah.
Let me give you one story, guys, right? And like I mean this, it really troubles me. I'm on the train, Esther, right, with my friend, right? And there's a year 7. I'm in year 11, Esther. I used to go to Dulwich, Esther. Where? To Dulwich on purpose. Why am I going to Tottenham for? Why am I going to Brixton for? Why am I going Junction to rob the Mandan? That don't make sense. So I'm going Dulwich because I know these kids have money, and I know that these kids are on the train on their own. There's no fare. Their parents are. It's Dulwich, man. Like, you're allowed to travel on your own. So we know if we jump on the train from Victoria to Dulwich, right? And I remember being on the train, like, there was a year 7. How do I know? Because I asked him. Right? My friend, he's sitting there, little boy. Listen, he was so tiny. Little boy, just sitting in the corner. Esther. And I pull up on the little boy, and it's just him, right? And there's people on the train, and my friend sits next to him, but I block it. I'm on the other side looking at him. So he can't go nowhere. And I say to him, listen, from the jump, I said, listen, whatever you do, don't scream, don't shout. If you make a scene, then it's a wrap, right? If you make a scene, it's a wrap. I'm showing him in my pocket that I've got something there. Esther, the boy, right? Literally, it's like he's having a fit. And he's not trying to have it. So picture this, right? he's sincerely trying to contain himself, but he can't. And I'm like, listen, Esther, it literally there and then made me know that, wait, whoa. And these were the early days. I was like, hey, whoa, how did I get this far? Like, how did I? Because before he was in that mode of erratic, he was moving nuts. It was only that, Esther, that it's like it woke me up. It woke me up. But Esther, next year this time, same thing again, minor. I was laughing at that. That's comedy, Esther. So don't talk. So we have to treat the black boy. I'm saying the black boy struggle with boldness. You know, we got to treat that with care. That's why only the right people listen, man. Only the right people can deal with these murderers. Listen, I'm telling you, Esther, yeah, enough of us in the black community, I'm telling you, we think that we care. We think that we're there for them. Listen, when it reaches your doorstep, when you know that someone has put a knife in someone 50 times and you've got to be the one to engage that young boy, if you can't do that, sit down and pray. Just sit down and pray. But I know that I'm there, Esther. So when I'm telling this story, I'm unpacking it, not from young black boy did this, because I'm telling this story. I guarantee you people are going to be like this. Oh, how dare you? I'm not saying on the live chat. I've preached in sermons, Mark, right? Where I've told these stories. And pastors have told me that I'm telling, that, you know, you can't come back to this church and we don't really like this person. And I know why they don't like me. It's not because of the vileness that I'm telling. It's because they don't respect the fact, right? Or they don't give light to the fact that God could be using me so much, right? Yeah. And he's done that. He doesn't deserve to be traveling the world over. Why is he got influence when he was like that? I'm telling you, because people have told me this. So my thing, Esther, is this, right? It was never about I want to beat up the boy or I want to make someone feel low. My mind was gone. How the brain works, Esther, we've been here before. Your brain is like a hard drive, right? It's like a hard drive. The more things you do is the more accustomed it is. It now becomes your habits. So my apps, each brain has apps. And my apps was fighting, was anger, it was malice, it was robbing, all of those things. But Esther, a psychologist and a psychotherapist and these people, they don't look at me like a bad boy. They don't. They don't. But the teachers did, parents did, the church did, the streets did, the police did, the government does. So black boys, yes, they're in a bad way, but there's no one looking at them. There's no one looking at them how they're meant to be seen. Wow. When you go to the real doctor now, they don't look at the action. They go straight to the why. Yeah. No one's ever asked me my why. No one ever asked me why. No one ever did that. No one ever said, why did you do that? It was you did this, so penalized. It was always punitive. It wasn't restorative. Right? You have to understand this. Punitive says, if I know I'm going to get punished for doing this, big man, all I've got to do is get thick skin for punishment. The minute I don't care about punishment, what do you do then? That's why the young black boys that go in prison, that don't work. It doesn't work. Death row don't work. Snoop Dogg already bust a track about death row. Snoop Dogg already said, hey, listen, murder was the case. It doesn't matter. The solution cannot be punitive. It cannot. That's not the way of Christ. It is not. It's not. And that's why, Esther, right, I got so far. Because my mind was gone. I was literally a victim of, it was, like, remember I said, I'm studying biopsychology as we speak. By default, this was the way I was. Young girls, Esther, I know I'm going over time, Esther, but I've got to say this, Esther, right? Young girls sleeping around from 12 years old. Esther, how are they seen? How are they looked at, man? Do you know, Esther, right? Young girls sleeping around that get their name from young, do you know what messed them up? Wasn't they sleeping around? Yep, come on. It was the stigma that they have to live with forever. Yes. Because they're seen like that, they go back to it. They slept around because they were trying to run away from pain. So it wasn't even about the feet. It wasn't even about the man them. It wasn't about opening your legs. It was simply about, I want to get away from my dad. to get away from home. So now they did it, Esther and Mark. Now they did it. Everyone is stigmatizing them and they're demonizing them. So guess how the devil's a liar? And this is what trauma says and addiction says. The devil says this, right? You run away from pain because you're in pain. But where you are, because you've done this sin, the world are now going to see you as like, oh my days. And now you're going to go back to the very thing that gave you that name in the first place. But it's the only thing that gives you a little bit of relief. So there are girls who know, if I continue sleeping around, right, I'm going to get a bad name. They risk the bad name because at least I'm not having to face my real pain anyway.
Wow.
Think about that. These young girls are not hoes. Who told them they're hoes? What do you mean you're a hoe? What's a hoe? What's a hoe? Now, what do you mean? That's why young black girls and young girls from all demographics, they're broken. They're 12 years old and they're not going to get real healing until they're like 21. Until they're, that's a shame. That's disgusting. Why must they grow up and wait, Sharon said it. So wait, you lot waited for me to become a man to fix myself. And now, do you know how mad that is? Why didn't no one clean it for me? Why wasn't no one there to be like, you know what, you're tired. You're 15 and you're moving like a 30-year-old. Why is everyone always excited at Fuller when he's telling his story at 32 and he's getting his life back? And everyone's like, wow, look at this man. Look at this man. Where was you when I was 15?
Come on.
Where was you?
Come on.
There are people who were with me at 15, Esther, you know, who repost my sermons. Wow, look at Andrew, boy, wow. Where was you, though, when I was 13 and 16? Where was you? And that's why I say, Esther, man, your story is deep, but we really have to know how to share our story. Because I've shared this before and dashed my iPad on the wall before. Because I'm still in that pain. I'm still, like, I can't control myself, but I'm at the place now, Esther, where the Lord has given me the right balance of, you know, passion, but at the same time I draw back. But it's not easy. It still hurts me. Even though I'm healed, I'm still hurt. Don't get twisted. And I'm allowed to be hurt.
We need to speak to the doctor on this and just
Sharon.
Not the doctor, just the neighborhood cousin who understands the cumulative nature of suffering. And the paradox is that all the institutions are violent. The criminal justice system is violent. I took up that school is a violent space, right? All of the people who are in charge of the justice themselves have histories of violence against Black boys in particular.
Wow.
And so you're not going to get anything restorative if there was nothing there to begin with. Restorative justice is a really necessary construct. But what we have to go back to is the notion that, you know, what you're doing psychologically to people, kids in particular, is you're throwing them over the edge. And then you're asking them to be reasonable. That frontal cortex doesn't get developed till 21. That's why sometimes when our teenage cousins are talking, we're like, you don't make no now.
Can you explain
because
that?
your reason has not been developed yet. So when your reasoning is getting developed, that's like up to 21 for boys and girls, arguably, your reason is getting developed. You're already smoking pot. You're already at Rood. You're already learning inappropriate ways of being. You're already getting rewarded for your aggressions. Even the name of this show evokes me to go back to the prodigal. When he came to his right mind.
Come on.
Right? This is a psychological warfare issue. When he came to his right mind, he realized he was living in a pig pen. He realized it would make more sense to go back and work for his father than it would be to stay out here and bang around. And if everything is against the renewal of my mind, how do I get healed?
Wow.
How do I do that? I'm now out of school, so I'm not getting anything there. Home's a violent space. The culture hates my guts. And they've been socialized to hate me. Even before I'm a man. They wanted to know how dark this little baby was going to be.
Jesus.
Before the baby was even born. So the black man is feared. He is not to be cajoled. The criminal justice system teaches at 12 that he's a man. We're teaching them at home that they're the little man in the house. No, this is not your boyfriend. This is your son.
Woo!
Devil. And so when they take on all these, then we all want to act shocked. But we've been adultifying them from day one.
Wow.
And not just us, the culture sexually has done a number on black men. They're objects sexually. They're objects for anybody who wants them. Doesn't want them, the essence of them, just wants what they're capable of doing. And so what we have is a profound cumulative brokenness that goes, and like Andrew said, he had already departed from his consciousness.
Yeah.
You can kill your conscience, you know.
Wow.
How do you do that?
Because you don't feed it. It's not being fed, Mark. You leave a plant in your house, you leave a baby in a crib. You don't go and hug the baby. You don't feed the baby will die there. But even before the baby dies physically, the baby will die emotionally. 3 times you go in the room, you don't look at, we did this when I was in 3rd year sociology. Put the baby in the I know you guys call it something different than we call it. Crib, right? Put the baby in the crib. You come in the room, the baby sees you, you pretend not to see the baby. By the 3rd time, the baby sits down and doesn't even try to get your attention anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Because you've established that I'm not here for you.
Wow.
So some of us stopped asking before we, They by the renewal of your mind, A. B, 2, you got to know that you're in a bad place. How would you know that if you are broken from reality?
Wow.
When you have a crisis of, it's like a psychiatric crisis, sometimes you have a break with reality. You're no longer aware of, of the moment, what time it is, where you are. The other thing we know about being psychiatrically vulnerable is having no future orientation. If I say to you, so do you see yourself in the future? Say, no. That's a red flag in our community of mental health. No future orientation. This is even a risk factor for you to take your own life.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? So when you're out here just ambling around now, and you're never being sharpened by anything greater than where you are. And incidentally, doesn't the church love to preach Paul, who was a murderer?
Yeah.
Was Paul the murderer, Esther?
He was a
Did
murderer.
Paul make his vocation killing Christians? And he is the most quoted. So we clearly know how to forgive folks and take their wisdom on the back end. But no one can pay you back for the loss. And so that's why sometimes, even though people come out of their grief, come out of their trauma, come out of their shame, there's still a debt owing. And so that's why I was saying last week, don't die on that hill. But the justice narrative is a real one. And I feel really concerned that, we're looking to institutional life that has been historically violent to us. That can't change us, which is why the church needs, my God, today, to get its act together.
Yeah.
You are responsible for the whole person. Can the eye say to the ear, I have no need of you?
Yeah, that's good.
Right? Every body part. If you break your small toe, you can't balance. But what we've done is say the heart's important. We figured out what body parts we think we really need, and then we don't care about everything else. Your children are the greatest expression of your health. Psychologically. Look at your child wherever they are. That's you.
Come on.
That's you. And I'm telling you,
Wow.
even for those of you who struggled, but you really put your best foot forward and you wanted the thing, sometimes your child ends up being the expression of your best self, even if you're still broken. But I'm saying to you, I'm not blaming you. This, again, is not a culture of blame. But I'm saying, have a look at your children. Are they retreating? Are they don't speak their mind? They don't disagree with you. They never feel permission to, maybe act without your approval. They're very, incapable of maybe asking for their needs. You're not preparing them for this world.
Yeah.
And so, Andrew, I want to say to you that I really do feel that the institute. So I told you last week, I first want to start with education. How could a child who has no behavioral issues, who's coming to school every day, why is this child not being dealt with? Right? And then I have to go and ask all the other institutions, right? And so I really do agree with you that something has to happen here. This is the transformation spot. And if we're not feeding our children's intellect, feeding their psychological well-being, feeding them spiritually, feeding them materially, you do need some things, parents, to function in this life. You do. Yeah, if we're not speaking to the whole condition, we are going to have chronic disrepair. There's a time when your car cannot be fixed anymore. You just need a new car.
Yeah.
Right? You're off, Andrew. You need to turn your volume on. But because I don't want to miss anything you're saying.
Yeah.
And so I want us to think community-wise about where we're not at our post. Right? Yeah. And I know the Lord told me I wanted out of this work. I said, I'm done. I don't want to talk about addiction and mental health anymore. And probably about 10, 15 years ago, I was taking the train one morning. Holy Spirit told me, this will never be off your mantle. You go do whatever you want to do, but this will always be your work. Because you're supposed to be here. Noah was a drunk. God raised him up. Right? So we have to allow for us to take an inventory of where we failed as a village as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where we failed in terms of our limited expectations of what others should have been doing for us. You're a taxpayer. You have the right to ask your national health provider, where is the mental health? Where is the mental health support? You love to put our kids in jail. Where's the rest of the resources that my great-grandmothers paid into? Or better yet, nursed in the original national health. Where are their rewards? You took tithe from the church. Why don't you have a counselor here? We're not good. We're not good at self-advocacy.
No, we're not. And just to bring into the conversation. So basically, for those of you that are just tuning in, Andrew has basically shared how he was a gentle child, a child that was seeking love, seeking affirmation, seeking safety to fully explore who he was and his loving nature. And then one day a snap came where people were just taking too much advantage of his gentle nature. So in order to protect it, he took on an aggressive nature to survive. And that aggressive nature empowered him to connect with more and more people that were kind of traumatized in different ways themselves. And that created what people call a gang, but we, as a runaway village, we call a community of people.
It is community.
Exactly, that have connected because of pain. So Andrew, now that we know that, okay, you went on the roads, you were doing things because your consciousness was switched off, you trained yourself not to feel but to do, as Sharon has rightly taught us about. And now that your consciousness is switched off and you're in this dark place, was there ever a moment where you just felt, I need to get out? Like, how did Christ know?
Never. It didn't work like that.
Wow.
No.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
If it was like that, right?
Okay.
I would never have been that deep. That's why I am able to still do this. not even at the same frequency, but frequency gets higher and higher year after year. So doing this for 16 years, right? Almost 17 years, right? It can only get bigger and more bold and powerful if what you're coming from, right, was so detrimental that, remember I said about the story, Esther, right? There are people who don't know their story, so they can't tell it properly, and their power is limited because like they've tapped into their words, like the fancy stuff about I did this, I did that. Once again, it's not your story. It's not your story. That's just like you've got a BMW that's like a 1.2. It doesn't matter no more. You're slow. You're driving the Beamer, but you're slow. It doesn't matter. No one cares no more. Right? If you can't beat me at the lights, just allow it. Right? A lot of people in the church, trust me. That's why in their testimonies, right, they always focus on the testimonies. Why do church people only want to give testimonies when it's like, wow,
I overcame?
Like, why? That don't make sense to me. I could have died, man, last night. You know, I fell off a building and the Lord saved me. Like, the reason why is because we think, right, that amens can only come after things like that.
Wow.
Like, you have to have some, and then that's why people say, I haven't. How much times have you heard, Esther, as a preacher, I'm Mark, right?
Come on.
From young people, I don't have a story like you.
Yes.
100%.
But I've learned to give that answer. I've never had an answer for that, but I do now. Because we've made story isn't story. What we've made story is
cataclysmic.
We've made that story. That's just it's not gimmicks, but it's not the story. So now let me say this now, guys, right? When I break this down, you're gonna understand that where I am is impossible to break.
Wow.
I've got people in my generation, Esther. That's why when you see people like Jeff, these people love me and I love Jeff. The reason why, because he knows that when I changed, it didn't make sense. I wasn't supposed to be out of the... Esther, listen to me carefully, Esther, right? My story is not I killed 10 men. My story is, I would have murdered bare man.
Wow.
No, Esther, hear me. Let me say it again, Esther, you know. My story is not, you know what? I was in prison for 10 years and I came out and I killed someone. No, that's all right. But my God, I believe, wanted to show young black boys that I can give you a story that goes like this. You could have been a murderer, but I grabbed you just in time.
Come on.
How much times, Mark, do we find
the
story of, all right, I get it, you went to prison, but that means I got to lose. Like, come on, man. Where is the story? I can boldly say this, Esther. I know murderers in prison right now. Esther, come on, man. Like, this is basic. Murderers I know, Mark. I know people in prison right now. Who are doing 30 stretches. But guess what? Guess what, Mark? I got some of them on badness. I didn't go to prison. I'm not seen as the villain. I'm seen as preacher boy. Right? So I have to tell the true story so that people understand that even though my story isn't I did this and did that and did this, my story is that God sincerely grabbed me. He grabbed me. Because all of my friends that were on my road, they've been prison and they've gone down for years. There was a guy in my community, not a gang, right, who went down for murder. But that's not been shocking, Esther. In the narrative that we've been from. Everyone in my area, I'm from the hood. So even if I wasn't gangster, Mark, I'm from the hood, Mark. I'm around badness. Hear me now, guys, right? The brain, quickly, Esther, right? Let's start with what thing I love the most. I talk about the amygdala and the nucleus accumbens, right? So the nucleus accumbens is your pleasure center, right? Every time pleasure happens in the brain, right? That's what's being triggered, right? So watch it, Esther, right? This is how it goes. When you do something, remember addictions, I told you, go and see the podcast. I was 7 years old when I started, self-harming. You see, I call it self-harming, Esther. People call it masturbation and that. I'm not into that. It's called self-harming. It's self-harming, right? Because that now was my addiction. It was my safe place, Esther, right? I'm in primary school. I'm not even in secondary school yet.
Wow.
And that's already my go-to. That is already my consistent go-to. So my amygdala already, my nucleus accumbens already knows what that feels like, and it expects a reward. So the reward so every time you knock your nucleus accumbens, right? When you kiss a girl, right? Kissing becomes dead now. That's the brain. It goes like that. When you deal with these things prior the age you're meant to deal with these things. So I'm kissing a girl, Esther, prime example, and that's nothing. Guess why, Esther? Because I've already undressed the girl in my mind from 7 years old. That's nothing, Esther.
Yeah.
I've already done the lip sync already. That's nothing, Esther. So, so I'm entering year 6, and I'm already thinking about pants down and skirt down already, right? So think about Esther. What do you think I'm going to look like in year 11 then? Huh? What do you think I'm going to be thinking in year 11? So let me tell you, Esther, by year 11, Esther, there was no connection out of sex. None. So even if, Esther, I loved you, and I was making you my only one, it was only going to survive based on sex. Guess how often though, Esther? This is now, remember, nucleus accumbens is like this. This is nucleus accumbens, right?
Yeah.
You watch, prime example, I'll use pornography as an example. You watch straight, same, heterosexual, right? Man, woman, cool, do your thing. Do you know there are men who have turned, not because they wanted to turn, but because their nucleus accumbens is bored.
Yeah.
And because they're addicted to internet pornography, that's where they're going to go all the time. And then their brain's going to be like, they're going to be doing their thing, and they're going to be like, I'm not getting the same reward. It's not really working for me. But now they're going to see something a bit outlandish. So they don't really like it, but their brain is like, that's new. We've not been here before.
Well, it always needs something else. You can't.
So now they're dealing with that. And why do you think that's rife in the black community amongst young black boys? Because it's pain relief. It's not about I love sex. It's not about it. Don't judge me like that. Stop calling. Why are you calling me a dog? Why are you calling me a dog? Do you know how rude that is? You're calling a young boy who finds pain relief in females. You're calling him a dog. Am I saying he's right? No. But call it what it is. Don't call him a dog and say it flippantly. Oh, you're a dog. Because I will bark. If you call me a dog, I will live in that truth. So, so Esther, where am I, Esther, now, right? I'm in year 11. And now, I'll be real with you. Do you know, Esther, right? From year 10 to year 11, bar my church day. Did you guys catch that? Bar my church day. I'm going to say it again, so you guys are going to think, that can't be true.
Yeah.
And this is the first platform I'm saying this on, by the way.
Okay.
Ever before. I've never said this before.
Yeah.
I've never said this before, right?
Right.
Esther, that was a daily thing for like 2 years straight. Daily. No, daily. I had to. Here's the example. Tamar, Amnon, right?
Yeah, it's good.
What did he say? He said, I'm sick. He said, I need, I love her. Get her. Get her for me, right? Do you know, right? That when he did that, right? The Bible said, right? That when he got it, the Bible said that the love that he had for her before getting it, there was a hate that mustered up. And that hate overrode the love that he had. Watch it, Esther. Point number 2, right? Proverbs 14. What did it say? It says this: they will not go to sleep until they have done mischief. So think about what Solomon's saying, right? There is a mindset that you can be in where you're so addicted and you're so gung-ho on releasing and relieving whatever it is, right? That you do anything to get it. Last one now, Esther. Let's bring it all home now, Esther, right? Dr. Robert Sapolsky. I'm sure Sharon have heard of this psychologist, right? He's like nutty professor, man. This guy, Sharon, right? He studies the baboons for like over 30 years. He moved to Africa. Imagine this, Caucasian man, moved to Africa for like 30 years to study baboons. He comes back after his practice. But what is that, Mark? My man went to Africa for all these years, and he's come back now, and he's like, guys, I've got an answer. Guess what he said? He was testing them, dealing with how they dealt with trauma, how they dealt with, group dynamics, how they dealt with the family, how the males were. And one of the greatest things I've ever heard from this guy's mouth, right, was a test he did on the baboons. And he breaks down, he breaks down that when it was dinner time, they were connected up there. Am I right? It was dinner time, right? And, when the bell would go off, signifying dinner time, right? They would measure their adrenaline, right? And their dopamine level, Sharon, right? Now, we know dopamine and adrenaline are gold drugs. That's right, gold drugs, right? So watch it. Every time the nucleus accumbens gets hit, right? It needs more. It needs more. Yeah. It needs more. No, it needs more. It needs more. Yeah. So once you start like that, you can only go downhill, even in your marriage. In your marriage, even if it's your wife, you're not willing to live with white rice every day. Sure. That's like eating white rice every day. That's the mind of them men. Like, they can't do it. They need more. They need more regardless. Right? So watch it. What did Robert Sapolsky say? He said this, right? The bell's going off, Mark, right? They've not eaten all day. They didn't give them meals through the day because they were trying to prove a point. They want to prove the point that when dinner time comes, because they're so hungry, they're excited, right? Guess what? It's going to blow your mind. When they were eating their food, the hype went down. But when the bell rang, that's when they were most excited for the food. Like, they were like, it's food time. It's food time. But when they were eating,
you got it.
So anticipation, right, is bigger than the reward. So in my life at this time, I was addicted, not even to the action, Sharon. Sharon, do you know, Sharon? Let me get real here, because in our church, right, this is the issue. We never get this real. I could care less what no one says. We do not get this real. No, I could care less where you worship. You don't get this real. Your pastor don't get this real. They don't. Don't like, no, but I've heard this. You have not heard this before on a Christian platform. Come on. I'm going to say it now. Let's say it. And it's not even that deep. That's how sad it is, Esther. It's not salvation, and we can't even go here. Yeah. So watch this, right? Watch this, right? Let's be real. Do you know, right? I can say it boldly as a man. And this is going to blow men's mind. They're not excited about the sex, Esther. It's not about the sex. It's not. It's not about that. Esther, it is not about that. When the guy's like, I want to do this with the girl, it's not about the actual action. It's not about that. I'm telling you right now. Do you know, I have lived all of my teenage years, right? Yeah. My experience in that was not the most, it wasn't the best. It wasn't anything. But guess why? I was not addicted to, it wasn't that. Addiction is not about the thing you're addicted to. It's not.
No, it never was.
I didn't even like it like that. But I thought I did. I thought I did though, Sharon. It wasn't even that. It was, so Robert Sapolsky breaks it down, right? That there's that before that, you're brought to, it's like you're heightened. You're like, wow, you're in this place where you have to get it, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. And then you do it and you're like, that was rubbish. Yeah. Wouldn't you finding out it's not good make you think, I'm not going to go back again?
Reasonableness says, I'm not getting any pleasure from this anymore.
Thank you. Thank you. But I still go back, Sharon.
Yeah.
So we got to stay there, Sharon. We got to stay there. Why did I keep on going back? Because there was nothing. Listen, it was better than home.
Well, until the pain of changing, right? You're going to flip when it hurts to stay the same.
Say that, Sharon. Whoa. Go,
right? We knew this in addiction. We said, the day that you change is the day that it hurts more to stay the same.
Yes. That's right.
And that day has to intersect with a clear mind. People said I changed because like 100,000 things had happened to me before, but when my 5-year-old in the backseat said, "Are you going to light another cigarette?"
Yeah.
Something turned on for me, or right. So it's the day that it would hurt to stay there more than what you're running from.
That's what it was.
That's when the transaction happens. Standard operating procedure.
Esther, watch this, right? Sharon, watch this, Sharon, right? Mark, watch this. Why the church couldn't handle me, right? Is because they thought that the gospel changed you just like that. That don't make sense. If the
It
Lord
never did
understands
change
trauma,
you.
thank you.
Just like that.
That's it. If the Lord understands trauma, right? Then the church must understand trauma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
church doesn't want to do the heavy lifting, Andrew.
That's right.
Church doesn't want to show a whole person. Church wants you to get baptized, come and sit down and behave yourself.
That's
they
right.
don't want to do the transformative work.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the work.
But I was on that journey, Sharon, and they didn't like it because I was making my journey visible. So I was speaking about my growth stages.
Absolutely.
And they didn't like that. So imagine now, Esther, back to your question, ending it off now, right? I got to the place, because this is the story, how I came to Christ, right? My brother, can't talk too much about it, right? Because I've learned so much that I've realized that, I can't go into that because that's his story. And I'm going to be bringing out his story. So
come on, somebody. Boundaries.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's good.
That's right.
Tell your story. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So I can't go into that, but just know my brother got stabbed and I can leave it like that. But what I can talk about what that did to me. So I'm not gonna, if I was to go into the whole 9 yards, you'll be like, oh my days, but I'm not gonna go into that. Just know I was in the hospital room, right? And I remembered, Esther, I'll get excited here,
Come on.
I remembered that they said that there was something called prayer. No, I ain't playing this for But bearing in mind, I stutter. And bearing in mind, people always put this, you were always going to be a preacher. Nobody didn't say that. That was not my narrative. When people say from young, you was going to, no, I did not get that. No one didn't see this coming, Esther, right? I prayed and said, God, I literally said, God, if you're real, when you hear that in the movies, you hear it in the sermons.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Come on.
Facts against the wall.
Why would I believe? Why would I believe he was real? I didn't believe Esther. I didn't believe I'm a real person. If I knew he was real, I wouldn't be on these roads.
Yeah.
I said, God, listen, man, God, if you're real, God, save my brother.
My God,
that older brother was the one who I was following the most. He was the one that I was homaging. He was the one that I patterned after, Esther. So I really, really had a love for him, Esther, man. I was like, nah, man, he can't go. Esther, watch this, Esther, right? I'm gonna, Esther, seriously, this is very mind-blowing, Esther, because it doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. A week later, my brother makes a miraculous, right? Esther, so he was not meant to be alive, right? Loss of blood from the get-go. He was meant to be a goner. 1 week later, he is not just in hospital recovering. He rung the doorbell and he was at the door. Esther,
Wow.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, Esther. Esther, it wasn't enough. I'm not there yet. My mind's still gone. No, Esther, listen, my mind's still gone. Hey, what happens now, Esther, right? I'm like, all right, God, say no more. I'm like, God, say no more. God, say no more, man. God, let me tell you about, I can't take the credit. Esther, watch it, Esther, I can't take the credit. Because I believe God had given me something and I just didn't know it. Because what I prayed for now was not my prayer. I'm telling you, I know this. Who prays this prayer? I said, God, if you don't use me because of the lifestyle that I'm living, watch this, Esther, I know that I can't just go to church. No,
Right.
Esther.
Let
me say that again, Esther, yeah?
Yeah. Let it drop.
I already knew that I can't just go to... Okay. I knew that true Christianity, before even knowing my Bible, before preaching, before knowing the Gospels, I already knew that true Christianity is not about going to church on a weekly basis. So I prayed saying, God, you're going to have to use me, man. I said that. I said, you're going to have to use me to do something. Esther, 1 week later, I get a phone call. Esther. to go to a mission trip, right, with my older brother. My older brother, Anthony, invites me to Thailand because he knows the life that I'm living. And he pays for me to go to Thailand. Esther, watch this now, guys.
People at their post.com.
Hey, Sharon.
I'm tired. I'm tired.
Took up their post, it was a wrap.
Someone went to work.
Yes.
Clocked in.
That's right. Now watch this. Watch this, guys, right? I cried for the first time.
Yeah.
Outside of getting beaten.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because someone honored the vulnerability. Someone spoke to the spirit man.
What made me cry? I stepped into Boy Hoi. I remember the name like it was yesterday. I was 15 yesterday, you know. It was Boy Hoi Chiang Mai, right? In Thailand, right? It took us 11 hours, you know, from the ground to drive up to them hills. 11 hours, you know. We're in the clouds. Our mission was to build a church, right? And do a campaign, like do a series.
Yeah.
I am only coming, Esther, to just do some painting, fam.
Mm.
I'm only coming to paint the walls. Watch this now, right? My brother, along with 2 other preachers, were there. And I, you know, they were my guys. I didn't find them cool back in the day. But I'm kind of changing now, Mark. So I'm like, bro, these guys are all right. Like, they're not geeky like I thought they were. Watch this, Mark. Watch this now. On the main church day, Anthony's best friend, a guy called I'm going to say his name to put glory on his name in a good way. Enoch Adu, great preacher, right? He said to me, Andrew, out of nowhere, I said, Andrew, man, I don't know what it is, you know, but I'm just letting you know, I ain't preaching tomorrow.
Come on, you are.
Esther, right? He said to me, I want you to just write your story and just preach. Esther, I remember I wrote my little sermon with a blue biro pen on some little crunched up paper. And I preached the next day, right? My first ever assignment was with a Thai translator. Like, I was thrown in the deep end. And the pastor came up to me, Esther, and said this, Esther, I don't know what it is about you.
Yeah.
But just look around. The people came up.
Wow.
I started to learn from early, Esther, that I get a response from people. Like I speak to their heart. Now, Esther, follow the train, right? Follow the thought, right?
Yeah.
I go back to England, right? And every single week, the phone was ringing. And I'm just preaching. I preached the same sermon for like 3-4 years. Guess what my sermon was? It's my story. That's it.
Wow.
Watch this now, Esther, right? I go to Kenya, and the church said to me, don't go. Guess why, Esther?
Why?
I don't know my Bible enough.
Yeah.
They said to me, you haven't even done a lay course. You haven't even done a preaching course. Sharon, guess what I did? I went anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Long story short, I lost my passport the day before I was flying out. Guess what everyone said to me? That the Lord spoke.
Yeah.
Guess what I did, Esther and Mark and Sharon? I went to Victoria, right? Knowing that you can't get your passport on the day.
Yeah.
I'm lining up, right, to just speak to the people. And the lady, listen, my testimonies sound unreal for a reason. Because God did it.
Come on.
He took me out of the line and brought me right to the front of the line. I was flying at 3 p.m., right?
The will of the Lord will be done concerning you.
That's it. I said to the lady, I need to go and preach. She said, but you can't get your passport. You can't get your passport. I said, listen, man, I am expected in Kenya.
And I'm going to arrive.
Listen to me. Hear her to me. Just this once. I don't know what it is about you. But But just go to the passport. You know you have to pick it up now?
Yeah.
If you know it takes 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock. 11, 12, 1, 2. My flight leaves at 2:15.
Okay.
Flight's at 3 o'clock. So gates close from 1:30, quarter to 2.
Of course.
I walk into the office, right? I walked out in 20 minutes. Wait, it's not finished. It's not finished, Esther. Wait. It's not finished. How am I going to get to Heathrow?
Come on.
I get out of Victoria Passport Office.
Yeah.
My dad calls me and says, "Where are you?" Because he was telling me go as well. I said, "Dad, I got the passport." Guess where he was?
Victoria.
He was in Victoria.
Come on.
Wait, it's not finished. It's not finished. I get to the airport, the gate's closed.
Oh.
We literally did this. I turn around and the man comes back out from his staff room. And he says, "Were you meant to be on that plane going to Kenya?" He goes to call back the person who closed the gate. They come back out, they open the gate, and then they say, "Go on your way." This is why I serve the Lord. It's not because of the preaching. It's not because of anything else, but I actually know he's real.
Come on.
So my journey, Esther, was not I was healed from the get-go. No.
Oh,
the
Jesus.
Lord said, "You're righteous by faith."
Yes.
Come on.
Your actions. What do you mean your addictions?
Yeah.
Please. I'll work that out.
Yes.
When I'm ready.
Yeah.
God said to me, "There's some addictions that I'm going to need you to keep for a while." We're not ready for this, you know.
No, keep going.
Sharon, we're not ready for this, you know. There were some addictions, Esther, that I know
But didn't the apostle asked?
God needed me to wrestle with some addictions, Esther.
Yeah.
There were some things that just stopped in my life. There was other things that was with me for a while. There are other things that are still with me now.
Yes.
This is what God is teaching me. This is what God is teaching me. While you're growing, while I'm changing you, while I'm pruning you, believe me every day.
Woo.
Don't leave your post. Even though you're struggling, you're not cherishing.
Yeah.
There's a difference, Esther. There's cherishing and then there's struggling. All of the things that I know that I'm weak at, I don't like them. And the Lord knows I don't like them.
Yeah.
Do you know how much times, Sharon, I've gone to Canada and we spoke, Sharon, and I've been at rock bottom in my home. But the Lord said, "Andrew, this is why I've called you, because you are still gonna go. Not because I am putting my house to the back burner, but because the Lord knows that the Lord is working on my house. Work for me. Continue to work for me. I've got your house." Not everything is a quick fix. My life was so gory that the Lord can't just fix it like that, because I'm going to miss all of the moments where I see him operating on me.
But in the fixing is the repair.
Hey.
Oh, hallelujah. Because if more and more unto a perfect day, right? So that you have the maturity, right? The word of God says, "I'm working on you," right? So more and more that you'll be mature, able to deal with life. That's not overnight.
Yeah.
It's not. But
Right?
Sharon, quickly. This is the bomb of the church, Mark. The church institutionalized body.
Yes.
They do not like the prospect or the aspect that someone can be saved and still move the.
No, they're doing that. They don't want that story, brother.
They don't want the baggage.
No.
They don't want that.
Yeah.
No.
It's the Meghan Markle thing in a sense as well.
Of course.
It's similar. It's the same thing they're doing. They're like, "Hey, black, too black, a bit light skin. We don't like it, but we can work with it." I'm Sharon. There are some pulpits, Esther, that I've never preached on. And that's never going to change.
Yeah.
I'm never going to preach on them. Because the story that I'm telling causes ministers to get in their closets.
Well, it also exposes them.
That's it.
Because many of them are still dealing with things that they want nobody to think they're dealing with. And then you come with the truth all over the place, right? And so what we don't have an appetite for process. We don't. We don't. And it's in the Word of God. It's in the Word of God. You know what? You're going through trials because they're going to make you. They're going to perfect you.
Wow.
When the apostle said, "Remove this thing from just this one thing I'm asking you." He said, "What? My grace."
Come on.
Yes.
Because if I take grace from you, you're going to start being boastful. You're going to start being a piece of work. So every day I need you to get that new mercy. Oh, Jesus.
That's it.
That's new every day.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it, Esther. That's why I'm here today, Esther.
Yeah.
This is a journey. I've been dealing with trauma from 16, 17. I've been.
It's a race. It's a race.
That's it. I just didn't know it was trauma, Esther.
Yeah.
I've been preaching about this for years.
Yeah.
But the Lord knew it's now times that I believe He's really taken me to a place, right?
Because of ambassadorship.
That's right.
You can be an ambassador now. Yeah.
That's right. I'm just willing to roll with Him. That's it.
Oh my God, today.
I know we're going over time today. It doesn't matter because
well, I'm saying I don't.
We are going
listen, Andrew, Mark,
shout out the teams, them.
Esther. We must discipline ourselves to process. Right? And if you don't like process, you're someone who will go and behave badly. Because you keep trying to get around things that you need to go through. And if some of us would just go through it, my God, what would be on the other end of the glory? That's why you're going from glory
to glory.
To glory. Oh, Jesus.
Right.
To glory.
Yeah.
Right? And the apostle said, I know all things, I've been debased. I've learned to abound. Sometimes to get your dossier, to get your CV in faith, you need to go through some things.
Facts.
The reason why Paul stands to be the most quoted of the apostles is because he went through it.
Yeah.
He did. He was a murdering bad man. He got on a different road. He said, I'm going to commit myself. I count it as loss to know Christ. I count everything else as loss.
Yeah.
You can't get there. You can't get there if you don't want to feel it. You don't want to go through it. You don't want to be abased. And then God can teach you to abound. But you have to go to the workshop on abounding. You can't just read the notes.
You can't. No.
Gotta suffer it. Gotta know what it means for no one to want to be in your company. So that you get delivered from people.
Come on. That's it.
But you can't get delivered if you never felt, oh, this person didn't want to talk to me.
Wow. That's right, man.
To really feel that, and then to really feel that you've overcome that. But I thank God that you're in the process and that you come to set so many people free. So one can chase 1,000.
That's right.
And you've already chased your 1,000 and triple that. Andrew came to Canada and said, are you ashamed of your own story? And I had to admit there was parts of my story that I'd been editing. Because it was mucky. Didn't want to remember that. It was too hard. Yeah. And so to those that are listening, don't be an editor.
Yes. Come on.
Don't do it because you're missing what God has for you. The reason he has the authority is because he's been subjected. You don't want that cheap gold. You want the 24 karat stuff. Because it's been burned. And if you eat things that aren't cooked, they make you sick, by the way.
Wow.
Sometimes you need to expose it to heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thank God that you allowed that exposure to happen, Andrew. and that you reached out by faith.
That's right.
They overcome by God. Speak it, speak your faith. Ask God. His word does not return void. He's there. He will show up for you. Mighty God.
Andrew, listen. Let me ask you something, because this whole platform is called The Runaway, okay? And you are Mr. Runaway. You are Mr. Jonah, yeah. And looking at your journey out of church, really, you have said, has brought you freedom. Not being trapped within an institution. And we're not now, for those who are going to write in and we're not bashing church. We're not saying this.
No,
we can't.
No way.
We believe in church. We believe in community.
100%.
But you coming out of the institute that probably didn't believe in you or didn't see the gift in what you had at the time, and not seeing how you could go on your journey and really be the real you. I want you just to talk into that and just share how you gain that freedom and how you maintain that freedom.
This is how. Esther, do me a big favor, right?
Yes, family.
Put this text up in there, right? Please.
Complete.
New Living Translation. You know, we don't play around with the Bible. You know how it goes, Sharon, man.
Amplified.
I just didn't want to start, Mark, you know, cause you get me started on the scriptures there, man. It get a bit political, man, but go please to Psalms 107, verses 1, 2, and 3. Please put that up, Esther, right? And I'll read it from the screen, right?
109.
107. Psalm 107, verse 1, 2, and 3 in the New Living Translation, right? But I also I'll break down the KJV, which is the you know, kind of pre-modern. You know how it goes, Mark. You know, it's the old school version. That's not a bad version, but you'll see why it's a bit different, right?
It's 1 to 3, yeah?
1 to 7.
Yeah. Psalms 107.
Verses 1 to what?
Verses 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, and 3. You got that? We got that. Where's that there on the screen? Yes.
Let's go.
I'm gonna put it in the chat and we'll put it in.
All right. No one else read it. Let me read it. Don't look at it yet. First, let me tell you, in the KJV, we know the text. You know this text, right? Let the redeemed. How much times have you heard it been preached? Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Come on, man. Like, we've heard it all the time, and we've preached it wrong, Esther.
Yeah.
I'm saying you or Mark or Sharon, but you know, I've always heard this the wrong way. It's like I've heard it and I've kind of heard it in the runs, like, you know, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. When the devil's on you, say so. I'm like, I didn't really understand it. I didn't get it. And I said, I need to get this text, man, because it's just boggling my mind. Right? It's nothing to do with, it's not there to be in your preaching run. It's not about that. It's very deep. This is your answer, Mark. This is the how. This is why I do this, right?
Yeah.
This is what the text says, right? Give thanks to the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Right? Watch this now, right? For he is good. We know the text, right? Yeah. These are the old school texts that we just haven't looked at properly.
Yeah.
His faithfulness endures forever. I know this. Oh, I know it does this. That's where I am. I got to the place where I was like, I know it does. You have to get to a place where you can say, I know it does.
Yes.
If you can't even get to there,
you can't go further
about how you can take church outside.
What?
Me, you know, slow down. You know, I want to know my story. No, you don't. You're not even ready for the Lord to reveal to you your real why. Come on, man. It's like, slow down. I know he is faithful. Now watch this, right? Has the Lord redeemed you?
If he has,
then speak out. Tell others he has redeemed you.
Yeah.
From the enemy. Now, Esther, quick one, Esther. Get the NIV.
All right.
Right? Same thing.
Yeah.
NIV. Throw it up there, Esther, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read this one.
I'm
right?
going
Watch
fast.
this one.
Fast. Got it. Copy.
You got it? Watch this one, Esther, right?
This one. Paste. Bam.
Bingo. All right. Let's go to verse 2. Let's go. No. Let's go again. Give thanks to the Lord. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. Watch this one now. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story.
Boom. Boom.
That's it. Nothing more. Nothing else.
Boom. Yeah.
That's why I do what I do. Mark,
Yes.
I did not kick me out.
Yeah.
Christ did not kick himself out of the church.
Come
No.
on.
He did not. Let me tell this last story. That's it, Esther, you know. This is my wife. The brother that was trying to get to Christ, he was a paralytic. He was broken on the outside.
Yes.
And everybody, listen, the original writer breaks it down that the Pharisees, Esther, you know this, Esther, the Pharisees, they got wind that Christ was going to be teaching. So
Yeah.
they were like, all right, he's going to be teaching, right? Let's go and listen to this man.
Yeah.
The Pharisees and the Sadducees, Mark, they came to this building where Christ was preaching, right? Don't miss this now. So the people who were filling up the church, the Bible said the presence of God was in the room. Healing was in the room.
That's right.
The Bible, no. This is what the Bible says this. So on that day, in that room, the text says this, right? Healing was present in the room. But the people who was occupying the room did not come for healing.
No.
They came to
To
pick
be
up the sermon.
disruptive.
They came to like,
Yeah.
let's see how deep he is. Let's
Yeah,
see
yeah,
if
yeah,
he can throw it down like Esther. Let me see if he's good like Fuller. Foolishness, man.
Yeah,
While
yeah.
that was happening on the inside, there was someone on the outside who needed healing. But watch this now. Watch this now, right? Watch this now. Two friends. You see, there's your answer.
At their post.
It didn't say two
At their
members.
post.
That's it. It didn't
People
talk about
working.
it didn't say elder. It didn't say a deacon. It didn't
No.
say pastor. It said
Brethren.
the reason why they saw his pain is because they were living with his pain. They were his friends.
Come on.
The church, what the church want to do, we want to be distant from the world, but be all over their redemption. If you want me to be saved, be around my dirtiness, be around my pornography, be around my wholeness, be around my gangness.
Yeah.
Invite me to the building.
Yeah.
Let my building be your building.
Yeah.
Watch it now. They tried to bring him to the entrance of the building. The
Lock
Bible
off.
said there was no room.
No.
The reason why I am done with church, in the sense of building, and I'm just being honest, you don't have to subscribe to me.
Preacher.
Don't subscribe to me. Just subscribe to your Bible. Let your Bible show you what I'm telling you. Don't watch me. But the reason why I don't subscribe to this building business no more as much as I did before, this is why. And I'm sick and tired of it, right? Because when the people are trying to come to Christ, right? This man came to the door, but there was no more chairs. There was no seats. He wasn't allowed to be there. Watch this now. Because of his friends. Because of his friends.
Somebody get a friend in Jesus.
This brother, Esther, right, went on the roof and he said, I don't care about the service. I care about Jesus. So I'm willing to break down the roof, right? It's going to smash the piano, but it's not about the piano.
Yeah.
It's going to smash the order of service, but it's not about that. It's not. Why are you mad? Why are you mad that there's no more song service now? Why are you mad? It's about healing. And I've got someone that needs Jesus.
Right.
Why is it? Here's the proof. If Jesus cared about the service, he would never have stopped.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
The answer is always in the text. If Jesus cared about your church service as much as you did, he would have said, put them in the pastoral vestry.
Hey.
Right.
And
let them wait back there and I'll come pray with them after.
Give him some soup, Sharon. Give him some soup and then we'll handle him after the divine hour.
Yeah, when everybody's gone.
After I preach. What did Jesus do? Jesus said, scrap everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here.
Well, he's not addicted to liturgy. He's not addicted to the liturgy. Yeah.
Is the least of these. My last one. What did Jesus say? Unto the least of these. If you do it unto them,
then you did it to me.
Unto me. Christ actually put himself. He said, the people you're ostracizing, I am telling you, I am them. So if you put them down, you put me down. Trauma, Sharon, trauma, Mark, trauma, Esther. I look at the trauma. So when I come to these people, I naturally bypass drugs. I don't care about that.
Oh, small
Sex,
stuff.
no, sorry. Alcohol,
Yeah.
no, sorry. Trauma, pain, little boy crying. Sharon said it the best way. We are called as a church, right, to go and save people at their 14-year-old selves, their 13-year-old selves, their 12. So there's a grown man in prison, right, that's done 30 years, but he's still 10 years old.
Yeah, he was 10 when he got there.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's your answer, bro. That's it.
And
Wow.
the church people wouldn't be so violent if we were dealing with their trauma.
That's right.
They wouldn't be so unkind to the newcomer. They would be able to get along better, and the kingdom of God would be advancing. But we got 50-year-olds who are 10 running the church board.
That's right. Wow.
So how do we get past this, right? And again, you know, your propensities are a measure of your brokenness. So just to get to the broken part first. But we try to put out the little fire of the behavior, but we haven't dealt with the wound that Esther was talking about. Your wound is festering now. It smells. It needs to be changed. But you just keep putting on a new pair of trousers, and out you go.
Yeah. And I heard last week, Andrew was saying that wound actually means trauma.
Yes, that's what it means.
That's what it means. Yeah. And so we need now to investigate the inner part, to heal the spirit person. And Andrew, you know, you've given us the GPS.
Yeah.
Right? This is no hokey doke quick fix, turn around 3 times at the convention and you get delivered. That's not this.
It doesn't work like that.
No. Okay? So I'm tired of this addiction to quick fix.
Yeah.
There is no quick fix.
It doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that.
And God is going to come to you the way he's going to come to you.
Yes.
Everybody's, you know, conventional. Like, there's nothing conventional about your healing. It's going to be as subjective as he made you. Before the beginning of time, he knew you. So he's going to come to you in the way that you're going to be convinced.
That's right.
You're going to be aware and you're going to be restored. It's don't want anybody else's journey.
Yeah.
Like, we start envying other people's journey.
That's right.
And that gets messy. God is going to come to you the way that you know him. Yeah, and then that's why you have to be still. Some of us are manic. Just be still and know.
Speak
that
it.
I am God.
Wow.
Be still. The world is moving around. That's why you have to shut the world down. He shut it down. He closed the church. Church ain't even open. So we're not talking about that anymore. Church is closed. But be still. And I'm telling you, you'll hear him. It'll be in the still small voice. You'll hear it. You got to turn down all the other amplified voices.
Sharon, speak up, man. Speak up, Sharon. I can't hear you, Sharon.
Today, this is the day that the Lord has made.
Yes, it is.
Today. You didn't get it last week. It's not gone. It's today.
Yeah.
Right. We missed.
Yeah, right? Because some of us wanted it to be last week, but you weren't ready last week,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
that's it.
Yeah.
It would have put you out last week. You would have overdosed last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Today you can hear. That's why he let you use last week and it didn't kill you. Because he still has a work. There's still a work.
Yeah.
And people need to remember that there's still a work. Like, I think what trauma does is it makes you think you missed your bus.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, like it's gone. It's not going to come back.
Yeah.
What's the point of getting well if I don't have anything to anticipate? It'll give you new appetites.
Yeah.
Right? You'll get a new walk. That's an old school stuff. You know, you get a new talk. You know, things will change. Things are changing. But you got to stop. You just got to stop. And that's why I love the title Runaway, you know, because at some point, if you could just stop running. And, you know, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
You'll hear from God. He will speak to you. And it could be through another person. Take the invitation. Go on a trip. Go to that dinner. You know, go meet an old friend. Like Andrew had to listen to his brother. He's still, God will never mess with your will, eh? He's not a dictator.
Yeah.
So Andrew had to say yes to the invitation. Didn't he? Brother called and said, listen, I'm going to Thailand. So what? Thailand? Ain't nobody got no time for Thailand. Right? He said, okay. Right? Okay, that sounds right. And then he didn't get discouraged by a closed door. Okay, passport people said I can't go, so it's over. Oh, I don't have a ride to the airport. Not mash up. He stayed in his will to want something better. And sometimes it's just, you just need to let that door open for you. I really feel that's a powerful part of the story that we don't want to miss. Even in your enslavement, there's choice.
Come on. Wow.
Jesus, right? Even when you feel enslaved to your ways, there's a window. Everybody has, in the academy, we call it agency.
Wow.
Everybody has it.
Wow.
You can leave that husband. Agency.
Wow.
You can take your illiterate self right down to the community college and sign up. Agency. You can leave your abusive employer. Agency.
Come on, Sharon.
Even when they told us we couldn't legally marry, we got a broom, we jumped the broom, and then we called ourselves married. Agency.
Wow.
We sang in the bowels of a slave ship. You have the DNA of resistance in your body.
What?
It's in your body. You made it. You made it.
Hey, I warned you, Esther, man. Hey, Mark, I warned you guys, man.
I'm coming for you, man. It's in your body. You survived. Your ancestors survived.
Yeah.
So your body knows resistance. You just need to poke it.
Sharon. Sharon, open your window, yeah?
Saying those deep, because millions of people, the songwriter says, is my living in vain?
Yeah, come on.
Twinkie Clark, a woman who had her own battle with depression, she wrote, is my living in vain? Is my giving in vain? One performance, she said 27 times, no, of course not. And she goes down in history as the most decorated songwriter in gospel music. The Clark sisters are still getting wealthy even now. But when she wrote that song, she was coming from an abusive house with a mother who didn't have a lot of boundaries and was desperate for them to win, but didn't always know how to reach them. One sister had already had 6 kids, no husband. Twinkie's husband was beating her.
That's right.
She went through it, but she said, is my living? And I come to say that your living is not in vain.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Your giving is not in vain.
That's right.
It's not in vain.
Hey.
Right? And so we're going to go back to Paul. This is a race. The race, right? The race is not given. If it was the fastest runner, Usain Bolt would win the race. It's not that race.
Yeah.
It's a race of endurance, and sometimes you need refills and you need a hug, and you should go get a hug if you need one.
Yeah.
Right. But we're going to win this race, but it's going to be slow and steady. Yeah. Songwriter said millions didn't make it, but I hope to be one of the ones who did.
Come on.
I went through great trials and tribulations, but I was one of the ones who the word of God said, who are these? These are they.
Come on,
great tribulation. God has respect for suffering.
Yes.
That's right.
He was a man acquainted with sorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's acquainted with your grieving.
Mm.
This is the God we serve, not the God that comes like a surveillance to get you every time you do bad. That's the God they sold us.
That's right.
But
That's
they
right.
were godless.
Mm-hmm.
The God that is right is your parent, the good father.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of us need to be parented again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good father. Trust him. Esther and Mark, I honor you. I honor the work that you're doing in Christ. Andrew, God has plans for you.
Yeah.
He's only just showing you a bit. You're going to get the nations. That's why he took you to Thailand first. He didn't give you honor in your own backyard. He took you to the nations.
Yeah.
It's a Jabezian portion. Yeah, you're not for South London. Like all the respect to South London. But this here is a prophet with an apostolic mantle.
Praise God, man. Literally.
Right. So we're not playing. We understand. And you know what they say? 14 is a perfect number for a group. 14 or 15. 14 of you online. We ran group therapy today.
Yeah.
Go. And what do you say? Go and send. You're free. Go. Go. You're good. And so I thank God for the platform, and I thank God for this moment. And I'm good. And you're good. We're all good.
Speechless. I've never been speechless. I always talk. Mark knows I never stop talking. Thank you.
And you're meant to speak. That's why you have this platform. God gave it to you.
That's right.
Don't be quiet, Esther. Don't listen to them. Talk in your sleep if you so choose.
Wow.
We need you to sit in your mantle.
That's right.
Woo!
Sit in it. Mark, your job is to just prop her up. Every time she wants to go, no. Right? You got to be here, Esther. You have to facilitate this conversation.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why we had to come today, because the conversation must be had.
Yeah.
We're not voyeurs, as Mark said so rightly, elegantly. We're not peeking into people's lives. We're not fast. That's not what this is. This is so that you go and consider that you're not alone. Andrew came to confirm we're not alone. We're all from parts of ourselves. If you would just be free, whom the Son set free is what? Free.
Indeed.
Indeed. Amen.
Amen. Wow, I'm blown. My mind is blown, and I'm sure everyone watching has been truly blessed. And some of us have to rewatch this over and over again.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
And nuggets that would drop to live our like keys of freedom for the way that we think and the way that we perceive life. Before we go, because this is our last week unpacking his story. It's the last time we've seen him, but it's our last time unpacking his story for now. Andrew, I just want you to speak, bro. I just want you to speak. I know some of these people that are logged in right now, and I call them by name because they know me. I try out like Shanky as Stuart, frustrated. Knows the call of God is on her life. Stuck. I want you to speak to people that are stuck right now. I want you to speak to people that are faithful, like Judith. The way that you've been putting up these comments.
Yes.
Literally.
I want to bring out Pastor Judith is one of my pastors from Toronto. Great woman of God, has helped so many people come to an awareness of themselves.
Wow.
Shout out to the beautiful foundation. She stands in the gap for women who have been tortured by their domestic partners. And she is a firestorm. And this is why, because she subjects herself to teaching. That's why I called out to the clergy. She's online. There's people from the justice community. I want to shout out to my brother who was online. Saw you there. You know, who runs services for boys in that age group that Andrew talked about. People could never figure it out. Why are you going after 12 and 14-year-olds? Because that's when it breaks down. So,
we're blessed.
comment section. I'm going to shout out Chanel. I want to shout out everyone, Eileen, everyone that has looked in today. Those of you that have sat silently and not dropped a comment, but have been blessed by tonight's live. Rhiannon, all of them. There's different types of people on here, but there are all runaways on here, Andrew. So in the last few minutes, I just want you to give a message of emancipation that tonight change in their lives, where they don't have to keep looking to man for validation, but they look to God. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes, just minister to the people, please.
All right, guys, man. This is a real moment. And if you were to ask me even to go deeper than that, Esther, and if you was even to say, if you had your last breath, what would you say? That's how deep I'm going to go. Like, literally, this is what I would say if it were the last thing I was saying for God. Literally. And I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? Nah, the thought just came to me, Esther, and I said, nah, I said, God, you're not that good. I said, nah. I said, come on, God, man. What happened, guys, right? For those listening, right? God has simply shown me the same thing a million different ways. The gospel is not about going left and right and up there and going Jamaica and no. God has got a simple truth, and he just shows me in a million different ways the same thing. And this is what it is, right? I want to ask you a question, right, Esther and Mark and Sharon, right? Just join me for a minute, right?
Yeah.
If you were naked in Hackney, Mark, Brixton High Road, Esther, and Toronto downtown, if you were naked, how would you be moving? If you were naked and it's broad daylight, it's rush hour, and you're naked, how would you be moving?
My God.
Very quickly, desperately.
Very quickly. What would you be doing?
Looking for cover.
Looking for cover. You're constantly going to be hiding. You're going to be like, oh, no, you can't see me. Even when people come to you, what are you going to be doing?
Be cowering away.
I didn't say I want you to be here, though, bro. Even the person giving you the jacket, even the person giving you the jumper, even the person giving you the anorak and the overcoat, you're still going to be pushing them away. But they're coming to help you. This is what I've learned about my God. This is what I want to let you know, because you need to understand that the root is this. You need to understand who God is. It's not about me saying, yo, man, you can do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. I'm telling you, you can't. Once you know who God is and what God can do for you, it's a wrap. Whatever you're struggling with, you don't try and fight it now. You don't even try and fight it. You just look to God.
Yes.
Guys, listen very carefully, right? God, this is why I mentioned the nakedness, right? I believe that God is not going to blow your mind until you get it in your mind that when you are naked, he's okay with it.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
I am telling you.
Goodness.
I am telling you, right? I've learned this from self-experience. When I was at my worst, sinfully, it was in that moment that God was badgering me not to say change. He wasn't even badgering me to say change. He was badgering me to let me know, no, don't change it. Don't change it. I need you to know that I'm comfortable with you like this. Because I need you to know that I don't like the sin, of course, but you need to know that I'm not trying to clean you like this. It's okay. He's not really dirty. Quick, come here. Get it off you quickly. God ain't like that. God needs you to understand, right, that your nakedness is the very place you need to be for you to get his love. Think about it, guys, right? If you are fully clothed, you will never understand his love for you. You have to be naked. You have to be uncomfortable, and you have to experience God's love in your lowest point. So guess what? If you're at your lowest point, if you're at your lowest point right now, you are literally
talk to us
in the best place for God to show you, this is my love. I need to let you know that you are loved when you are doing. The Bible says, even when we were yet sinning.
Yes. Come
Think
on.
about the logic, because I know you were thinking this brother's taking this to some non-biblical level. You know, this brother just said that, yo, man, the Lord is comfortable in your sins. Well, the Bible says that he was comfortable in dying. Okay.
Yeah.
Christ was most comfortable in dying for you while you were sinning.
Exactly. Come on.
Now, let me tell you why. Quickly, Esther. This is why God has to work like that. Because of sin. Because of our natures. It's not his ideal. It's not the way he would like it. But because of our nature, because of our wayward thing, the Bible says the mind is enmity against God. That word enmity means enemy. So because we're natural enemies of God, right? God needs to meet us while we are enemies against him.
Yeah.
He needs to be in front of us and say, guess what? I know you don't even like me, but guess what? I love you, man. I know you're going to do this thing right after this chat. How about that? God forbid, right? You're thinking, man, you know what? I was really thinking about going to see that guy after this chat. What if I told you, right, that God is even cool with that?
People are going to be in trouble.
Told you that? God is not trying. God isn't trying to not make you do the bad thing.
Yeah.
He's trying to get you to know this. When you're at your most naked, there's one that sticks closer than a brother. If you don't get that, you'll never change. You have to be willing to be naked before God. I don't think that you in the chat, there's someone in the chat, right, that's still coming to the throne room with clothes on. Why are you coming to Christ hiding your pain when he knows the pain already?
Yeah, for real.
Like he knows it. He knows it. All I'm saying to you is this. This is how I got my healing. And this is my process.
Yeah.
I am so comfortable with God, you know, Esther and Mark. And listen. When I fall, I get back up because I've been about that life. God has shown me, Andrew, I want to teach you about this. We don't like sin. Don't get twisted. This is God, you know. Andrew, we don't like it. Not because it's sin, but because of what it does to you. What it does to you. It's not about the sin. It's not about the sex and the drugs. It's what it does to you. It's not that I'm like, oh, sin's there. No, God loves you so much that he can't like sin. Because sin is an enemy. Sin is a force that batters you. So God says this though. Even though I hate sin, because of your waywardness, I need you to struggle in certain things. Because I need to see if you're still going to come back to me. If I take away all of your problems right now,
you're not going to need.
And you start singing and praising, you only started singing and praising because I took it away. But true Christianity, people are going to leave the chat now, Esther.
I know.
True Christianity, I'm telling you, I'll stand alone. It's sometimes when you're still doing it, you hate it.
Yeah.
And because you hate it, the Lord now sees and says, look, devil, even though he's doing it, before he was doing it, he loved it. Now I'm proving to you, Satan, that the very thing you thought you had him with, loving it, he's still doing it, and he doesn't love it.
Yeah. Come on.
He hates it.
Now
He hates
I can
it.
take it away. Now I can take it away.
Yeah. Now the journey begins.
And he hated it.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
I can't take it away. If you don't see that it doesn't like you, I've dropped everything that I see hates me.
Yeah.
That's why the Lord leaves you in certain messes. That's why the Lord, and this is the next wave, you know, Esther, where some people ain't even ready for this.
No.
That God will give you a lot. He will say to you, you're not ready. Whoa. No, you still have to stay in that lot. That's still your portion. I need to see you. I need to see your prayer life while you're in that mess.
Woo!
Why are you only praying because it's gone?
Mm.
Why are you not praying because it's there?
Mm.
Think about it, Esther. We stop praying because we're sinners. I'm a sinner. I go raving. I smoke. I drink. Why pray? Big man, you need to learn to pray and study and worship even when you're in your mess. The issue is not that God can't take you away from your mess.
Mm.
The issue is you don't believe that God can in your mess. You think that you got to fix yourself before God fixes you.
Mm.
And that's all I'm saying, man. That's it, man. That's it. Don't play with God's love, man.
Hurricane and a tsunami and two halves. And I know our dear sister Sharon's got to go now. We've been on here for 2.5 hours.
Well, the problem is I don't live in the UK. That's the problem.
So please just
hours, but I love every second of it, and I am so excited for everyone on this line. I'm happy for you that today is your day and that you're here with us, and we got to sharpen iron. And I love you all so much, and I can't wait for the next level, whatever that is.
Yes.
Okay.
Sharon will be back, guys. Don't worry, Sharon.
Maybe
will
sooner than you think.
Sooner than you think.
Take good care. I love you so much. I'm so pleased to have met you and Mark, Esther. I'm a hardcore fan of the Runaway now. Love you, Andrew. Riding or die till the wheels fall off.
Come on.
That's right, big sis.
Till the wheels fall off, Bridget.
Come on, man. Come on, Sharon.
Okay, and they're not going to, because we're going to be in a, I don't know, Porsche or something. We won't have wheels falling off.
Tesla.
Jesus is our mechanic, so it's fine.
All right, take good care.
Blessings.
All right. Thank you.
Brother, you have blessed us. Thank you so much.
Praise God, man. Literally.
2 weeks back to back. We have to talk after this because Andrew's going to be back 100%. I know tonight people have been blessed. I know tonight people have literally found liberation and just absolute freedom. I know people are challenged right now, flicking scriptures like, what did he just say? What did he say? Because we have
real quickly, Esther, I can get all of those, man. If you want some guidance with the scriptures in regards to trying to wrap that around your brain, it's right there in the Bible.
Come on, bro. Guys, man. Come on. And we stand with Andrew because we come from the mire as well. We come from the mess. When you're talking, we know the messes that we have been in our personal private lives whilst preaching. Do you understand what I'm saying? The pornography, the addictions, the roads, the bad people trying to. We've done that, been there, got the t-shirt, so we completely understand that. So, Andrew, bless you. Thank you so much. Always love. Please stay on.
Love everyone, man.
To everyone else.
Man.
Let me just say to everyone out there. I know. Someone out there, church leaders, someone, they're going to say, this is not right. You're teaching people that sin is okay. We are not saying that. If that's the message you came away with, you have not listened to the program. We are dealing with trauma. We are dealing with the depths of someone's story and people's life of how, listen, we call him a trauma survivor. I call him a trauma thriver. It's someone like sometimes this is not about us trying to advocate for sin.
Nope.
Okay, saying it again and again. You can send your texts and your emails and whatever. We will reply with love. It doesn't really matter.
Always love.
But I'm trying to show you that this is called the runaway. This is for people that has left the building, that are in these situations, that are living life in a mess, hurt, pain, drama, and trauma. And we are trying to speak to their hearts and their minds that say, even in your trauma, Christ still died for you. He still loves you. So those who are out there in that place, get up and get out. Don't sit in that situation. God has lowered the bar so low to make the point of entry so easy for us to come into him. But sometimes us in the church are going to try and lift that barrier so high that it's not that easy. It can't just be just believe. It can't just be just accept Christ for who he is. All we are saying is when you accept Christ, come as you are with the mess that you have. God will take you on a journey. 100%. And you won't stay the way you are, but don't think you have to fix it up before you get there. That's all we're trying to say. We're listening to people's story. And if you think that was crazy, when next week you hear a girl that was coming to church drunk from the age of 12, 13, 14, having children, 2, 3, 4 children, 2, 3 children, and her life is a mess, smoking cocaine, doing all sorts of things, and end up being a doctor, in the name of Jesus Christ.
Spoiler alert.
I'm telling you, there's going to be so much that is going on next week. So please, you can write what you want to write, but these are real lives and real people. So tune in next week.
Please tune in next week. We're going to have it from a female perspective in terms of the trauma that our dear sister Amanda Brown will be on with us. And we'll also have a clinical expert going through her journey. And the reason why we're sticking on trauma is because that is the hurdle that prevents us from receiving the love of God. We want to see you whole. We want to see you healed. And we want to see you thriving. We're walking this runaway platform by faith, literally. We don't necessarily know everything. We don't know who's out there that wants to get involved with what we're doing. But as we build, we will create opportunities to ensure that all your voices, stories, testimonies, and triumphs in Christ are amplified. Please share this with the people that you're doing community with. If you're watching the replay, hey, our replay family, we love you. We're praying for you. Guys, it's time to go and drink some water. I'm probably going to cry all night because just thinking of God's love for us in the madness and the messes that we all know that we have been in is overwhelming. Pray for us. Please do pray for us as we pray for you. Love you. See you again next week.
Share to everyone you know who needs this message.
Yeah, especially those that you know that are not in church and don't want the God thing because it's too passa. Is that right, Jamaican?
That will do,
Yeah. So I'm African, guys. Sometimes small white West India. Ra. All my West Indian people. Love Africans as well. All right, good night, guys. Love you. And we will see you next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Bring your notepads, popcorn, and all that good stuff. Sleep well. Take care. God bless for now. And mwah.